We have freeze warnings in place for tonight. 60 right now in Kissimmee, 60 in Orlando. Freeze warnings in place just about everywhere tonight from around midnight until 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. Cold weather advisories tomorrow morning. That is because of the wind chill readings in the 20s. But this is not even the coldest air. We're talking about mid-30s overnight for most of us. And we're talking about upper 20s, low 30s for northern interior spots. But as we head into the weekend, we're going to be talking about some of the coldest air we've seen since 2010, and it looks like it's happening. I feel confident saying that.
Oh my! It felt like it this morning. The dog walk was a little brisk, and my fingertips were really frozen. So you're saying it's going to be colder than that?
I am. Were your fingertips frozen because you lent me your gloves yesterday?
I don't want to say too much. I've said enough already, but yeah, we have to get ready. All right.
Yeah,
We're not built for this.
No, we're not. All right, and speaking of getting ready, this cold weather is here to stick around for the foreseeable future. So the cold weather shelters are opening across Central Florida. Every county across Central Florida except Marion County is opening spaces for people without reliable access to heat. Now, head over to clickorlando.com for a list of all the shelter locations and how communities are helping people who need it get there. For everything you need to know about this cold stretch, also go to clickorlando.com/freeze guide. We have all those cold weather shelters as well as forecasting and tips to protect your home. Again, that's at clickorlando.com/freeze guide. I know they've worked hard on getting all that information in one place so you can find it convenient.
We're going to be sitting in this for a while, so get
marinating
used to it.
almost.
Yes, we are marinating it in it. So away from the weather now, let's get you to some of your big news headlines happening right now. Imagine if you live in an apartment and your neighbor just starts spraying bullets with an assault rifle. A local couple says this happened to them. Pretty crazy story here. This is in Orlando. Orlando police officers called to an apartment. It's on South Kirkman Road near Conroy. Happened 2 weeks ago. The couple says they were just cooking in their kitchen. They heard loud bangs on the wall of the unit they share with their neighbor. It stopped, and then they say that's when the shots started firing. Officers went into the apartment where the shots came from. There was an open door. No one was inside. There were bullet holes in an oven, out a window, and through the bedroom and bathroom walls. In all, 25 spent rifle casings found in the living room. The rifle was found under the couch, so officers found mail and prescriptions belonging to this guy, Kevin Anderson, a convicted felon who, by the way, is not allowed to own any guns. He was arrested, and he was charged with attempted murder as well as some other charges, but those neighbors glad he's out of there right now.
Well, they are so fortunate because, you know, those walls aren't the thickest. And we've done stories on people where a stray bullet just enters your home. You're just minding your business and
easily
have no
get
idea
hit,
where
much
it comes
less
from.
25 of them. Yeah. All right, well, we are working to learn more as a man was found shot at a gas station.
Yeah, so this happened on Colonial Drive near the 408. News 6's Stephanie Rodriguez has the details.
Orange County deputies received a call about a shooting at this 7-Eleven gas station around 3:30 Wednesday morning. When they arrived, they found a man in his 40s who had been shot. That man was rushed to the hospital and is expected to survive his injuries. What we were able to see here on scene is there's a couple of cars in between the gas pumps and lots of sheriff's deputies here investigating. Of course, this is an active investigation and details are limited. We're still waiting to learn if there's any possible suspects in this shooting and more information about the victim as well. Once we have that, we'll bring it to you on air and online at clickorlando.com. Reporting in Orange County, Stephanie Rodriguez, News 6.
All right, so we'll keep a close eye on that story. Matt, we work here on John Young Parkway, and sometimes if the wind blows in the right direction, there's a certain smell we can detect.
There used to be one, yes, like crunchy
and it's like,
Fritos.
What is that? Well, it's an end of an era because the Frito-Lay factory, the facility on John Young Parkway where our office is located, is being torn down today.
That's right. It shut down a couple of months ago, and unfortunately it led to a few hundred people losing their jobs. Your community correspondent, Tylisa Hampton, is out there as the demolition takes place today. Tylisa?
That's exactly right, Matt and Ginger. You said the demolition takes place today. Just take a look at that big old pile behind me. You can see where that bent metal and everything is just crumpled up into that pile. That's not the only one, though. Over here, you can see where construction crews are actually working to tear down this facility here. Now, this demolition of Frito-Lay plant in Orlando begun after PepsiCo announced last year that it would close 2 facilities, laying off 500 employees total. Now, the company has said that decision for this closure and demo was driven by business needs. Pepsi said workers will get transition assistance, career support, and pay and benefits throughout this process. So we did reach out to them to see what would happen to this property after this demo is done. We're still waiting to hear back on that. However, we did reach out to County Commissioner Michael Scott's office about how they're trying to help employees. If you remember back last year, they had that career fair for these employees that are affected by this job loss. He said they kind of learned a lot from that, his office said, and his office did say that it didn't help every single employee, which is why those ones who are still waiting to get a job, waiting to get that next paycheck, they are in the early stages of planning another job fair specifically for those impacted employees. Reporting in Orange County, I'm Talisa Hampton. Back to y'all.
Okay, Talisa. You
can hear that machinery in the background. They're getting to work.
Doing that work
Thank you,
right now.
Talisa.
Well, today marks 40 years since that Challenger disaster captivated really the world.
That
when
number
it
made my
happened.
heart
Yeah.
stop earlier today, 40.
Yeah, can you believe that? The accident happened just 73 seconds into flight from Kennedy Space Center. Killed all 7 people on board. That vehicle just disintegrated over the Atlantic Ocean. Officials confirmed the cause of the failure: O-rings in the shuttle's right solid rocket booster. And it's kind of interesting looking back 40 years because they were having a cold snap back then that caused some of the issues when it came to that. Also, a teacher was on board.
Krista McCullough.
Yeah, she was on there. And so that caused all these schools to watch live as it happened.
Every child who was in elementary or middle school, they had to, you used to bring the AV team out and you set that TV up there. And I was really interested because of the teacher, Krista McCullough, because I love teachers, and because of Ron McNair. Ron McNair is from Lake City, South Carolina. I'm from South Carolina, so every South Carolinian was so proud of this African American going to space for, I think it was his second time. And we learned about him in school and we were all devastated. But all 7 lives lost on board, and we just thankful for their sacrifice, but space exploration continues with Artemis.
Yeah, and a good reminder of the high stakes game that those astronauts play every time they go up to the stick.
All right, well, a big step toward filling a critical need, this one in Brevard County. So Health First and Rockledge City officials broke ground on what will be the county's first freestanding emergency room. The 13,000 square foot facility on Fisk Boulevard will include a 12-bed ER with full lab and imaging services, including CAT scans, x-rays, and ultrasounds. It'll be staffed 24/7 by emergency doctors and clinical teams. Now, this has been in the works for quite some time, but Health First sped up construction after Orlando Health's Rockledge Hospital closed suddenly. This happened last April, and that left Rockledge without an emergency department.
When Rockledge lost its emergency room, those emergency needs didn't disappear. They shifted to our other hospitals. Our teams across the county stepped up to meet that demand.
And officials say the ER will open this time next year, so it is ahead of schedule, and the people in that community definitely need it.
Yeah, these hospitals are a big part of the growth and infrastructure we need as we continue to get an influx of people. All right, well, we're going to continue following this big-time cold snap, and a part of that is how it's affecting some of the biggest, scariest creatures around.
Yeah, okay, and stop the presses. There is a new grocery chain at the top of that food market.
I don't know.
We're going to talk about, okay, your number one has maybe taken a tumble. We're going to talk about it when we come back.
Welcome back to News 6 at 3. Obviously, the cold weather has settled upon us, and we can put on layers, but an alligator can't put on a cardigan, right?
No, well, not that I am aware of. I hope not. But we share this area with those big, toothy creatures, right? And what do? What happens to them when they get cold? News 6's Catherine Silver. She joins us now live. She's at one of my favorite places, Gatorland. Hi, Catherine.
Hi, Ginger. This is one of my favorite places, too. We're at Gatorland today learning a lot about alligators. There's so much you can learn from these animals. I'm learning I'm very similar to alligators. I don't like the cold, I do like the water, and I do like lying in the sun. So that is what alligators are doing today. When we first got here this morning, most of the alligators were in the water. The experts here tell me that the water is actually warmer than the air is, so alligators will stay there when it gets cold outside. As the sun came out this afternoon, they started to get up onto the bank so that they could go ahead and charge up in that sun. We know gators are reptiles, so they really need that sun to regulate their body temperature. This weekend, when it's likely even colder, the experts say the gators here in Central Florida, they're going to be back in the water where it's warmer.
Okay, I never thought to compare you with alligators, Kat, but here we are. So we know that in Florida, we see the iguanas and the lizards fall from trees when it gets cold, really cold. What happens? We know alligators don't fall from trees, but what happens to them?
Yes, the alligators. I've never seen one fall from a tree, so I don't think that happens. I'll let the experts explain more of the nitty-gritty of what happens, but basically what they tell me is gators enter a state of dormancy. So here in Central Florida, we don't really see the water freeze, but other states like North Carolina, even parts of Texas, you might have even seen some viral videos where you'll see an alligator with just their nostrils up out of the water and actually ice surrounding them. So what they'll do is they'll enter that state of dormancy. They'll stay there for a day or two until the water thaws out, and then they'll continue on as normal.
That's what I want to do, just some hibernating right now.
They make do. All right, Catherine, get yourself some sun. It's a little chilly out there. Thank you for that. We'll see you in our later newscast today. Great job. All right, and if you ask anybody who is familiar with Florida, they know all about our gators.
That's right, and that's sort of the inspiration for our poll of the day. What do you think the scariest Florida creature is? If you'd like to participate, check out that QR code. Take out your phone, scan that right at the bottom left corner of your screen, and we'd love to know what you think. I'm shocked by this.
I am too.
Why would you be scared of a cockroach? They can't do anything to you, but 35% of
They can
Floridians.
fly.
This is true in my house. I think they would rather come across an alligator than a cockroach. 35% say cockroaches. Alligators are there at 22%, which is shocking because one of them can kill you and one of them can do absolutely nothing to you.
Well, I see that pythons are on there. I would vote for a snake. That would be, even those
Snake
little black
creeps you out
racers.
more than-
I don't like seeing them. They're good
get
for the
that.
environment, is what people. Not the pythons, but those other.
The
black snakes,
oh, yeah.
black
Oh, yeah, the
racers.
black racers, yeah.
All right, well, our social media guru, DJ, has been looking into all the stuff that you care about.
Yeah, lots of people, including myself, we love our Publix. But Publix, could it be knocked off the pedestal? Your social media comments are letting us know what you think.
More than 1 million views and more than 1,000 comments. Everybody's talking about this post on the News 6 Facebook page. It says Publix is no longer Florida's top grocery store. Bruce says, according to who? Well, Bruce, it's according to the American Customer Satisfaction Index. And in this article on clickorlando.com, we have the full list of the top 20 grocery stores in Florida based on customer satisfaction scores. But I do have to spoil it for the purpose of this conversation. This report found that Trader Joe's took the top spot this time. And this story has people feeling all sorts of ways. Like Patricia, who says, there's another grocery store brand in Florida. Marissa says, I don't even know where a Trader Joe's is, but I can tell you where about 10 Publix stores are. Dan says, Trader Joe's is a specialty store, not a supermarket. Hard to compare the two. Kevin says something similar. You can't compare the two. Publix is everywhere. TJ's is in very specific prime locations. Robin doesn't believe it. She says the poll must have been taken inside Trader Joe's. Michelle says Trader Joe's is affordable, convenient, and overall has good quality food. I wish there were more locations. And my favorite comment is from Carol, who says, we need a Wegmans. Carol, I agree. But not surprising at all, there are a lot of Publix defenders in the comments on this one. People love their pub subs and their BOGO deals. But what do you think? Is Trader Joe's the new top store in town? Or is it even in your town? Use the QR code right there to join the conversation and let us know what's your favorite grocery store.
Okay, honestly, if you can name the location of 3 Trader Joe's in this area, I know one, and I can never find parking. Yeah, and I can
you
never
can't park at that thing.
So I don't even understand it.
Easier
but-
to park at a Publix, and you're not going to find one of those delicious chicken tender subs at Trader
For a limited
Joe's.
time. For a limited time. All right. Well, a big announcement from the Federal Reserve today.
That's right. How it's going to impact borrowers as we head into the future. We'll talk about that coming up.
We're just gonna.
All right, welcome back. It was a pretty up and down day for the market so far. For the most part, you're looking at the big board, the Dow Jones Industrials. You can see not a whole lot happening there. It's been fluctuating between 17 and 18 points up and down today. Investors have been keeping a close eye on a decision from the Feds today.
Yeah, your dollar and cents investigator. We have Donovan Myrie. He is joining us now to talk about what happened today and what the implications are.
You know, it's interesting. I was talking to Jill Schlesinger this morning, and she said that it's pretty much going to be a day of kind of nothing going on. And she was right. Basically, the Fed came out at 2 o'clock and said, we're not doing anything. We're just going to basically stay right where we are. Jerome Powell came out at 2:30. He just finished his press conference. His press conference went on for over 45 minutes, and I was really surprised. And he was just taking. It's funny, he had a lot of questions and a lot of I can't comment. A lot of I really can't tell you things about it. So the Fed has made 3 consecutive quarter-point percentage rate cuts dating back to last September. The no-cut decision could be interpreted as a signal the Fed still isn't quite happy with inflation, and cutting rates could reignite prices. Like I said, I did speak to Jill Schlesinger this morning. Here's what she had to say about what consumers think, or what.
I just feel bad for borrowers. We're making incremental progress, but it doesn't seem to move the big charges you're seeing for your credit card balances or those auto loans. Credit card interest rates now averaging over 19%. Auto loans are kind of all over the place. They're so dependent on credit scores and the age of the vehicle. So you can find something that's as low as 5%, but you have to have really good credit. But it goes all the way up to 13% if you've got a shaky credit score.
Now, Jill believes the Fed is still playing catch up on that missing data. That missing data from when the government shut down. They're still trying to get all that data to figure out exactly where the economy is. Now, savers are seeing good rates on high interest savings accounts and good rates on CDs also. And lastly, the Fed board itself is in the news, okay? Remember, Jerome Powell has a criminal investigation by the Department of Justice, and that goes into how he's handling the renovation of the Fed headquarters. And basically, Lisa Cooks, she is in the middle of a controversy over residency, and they're trying to get Lisa kicked off of the Board of Governors.
She's the person.
On the she's a Fed. She's on the Board of Governors of the Fed.
Okay.
They had a controversy about her residency, where she was paying her mortgage, and they'd like to. President Trump would like to have her removed from that. That case has gone all the way to the Supreme Court. Arguments were last week. Powell actually attended the arguments, got some pushback from other officials about attending it, and said he wouldn't address what the other officials think. What he did say today was, if I didn't attend it, I think I'd have more questions asked than if I did attend it. Okay. And the Supreme Court will basically come out with that decision in the next few weeks, month or so.
Interesting. Well, we'll see what happens, Donovan Meyrie. Thank you for the very important update. Well, impulsive, erratic, and unnecessarily confrontational. That's what a passenger is reporting after dealing with a Customs and Border Patrol agent flying into OIA. We'll talk about that coming up after the break.
And also coming up at 4 o'clock, a family who lost 2 of their loved ones is making sure that that kind of tragedy never happens to anyone else.
Coming up in the morning, keeping vapes out of the hands of kids.
Florida lawmakers have a new plan to try and help what it could mean for stores all across the state.
Plus, our cold snap continues. Candace tracking those temperatures every 10 minutes.
We'll see you for News 6 Morning starting at 6.
All right, hello everyone, and welcome back to News 6 at 3 o'clock. It is your only news source with live local breaking news at this hour. So we're talking about an incident with a Border Patrol agent at Orlando International Airport. It is drawing a lot of criticism.
And it's gotten to the point where the airport CEO and the county mayor are now weighing in on this. Your Orange County community correspondent, Mike Valenti, joins us live from the airport. So Mike, tell us about this situation.
Yeah, Matt Ginger, good afternoon. I got my hands on this email, and in it, the email to Mayor Jerry Demings of Orange County. The Aviation Authority CEO Lance Little calls the allegations, quote, concerning, and he pledged a review. In the complaint that we obtained, the man claims he and his girlfriend were going through customs after returning from a trip abroad. He says a CBP officer displayed behavior that was hostile and confrontational when they approached the officer's customs lane. The man said the officer accused him of drinking and smoking the whole time while on the trip. He also claimed the officer directed inappropriate comments to the man's girlfriend, quote, demandingly asking why she was not married to her boyfriend and why she was still single. Now, he sent this complaint to Mayor Jerry Demings, whose office forwarded it to Aviation Authority Lance Little, requesting a briefing for the mayor. Little, the next day after the mayor's office sent that email, said in response that the behavior described would not align with professional standards that both the Aviation Authority and CBP can expect at the airport. Little noting that he has no authority over CBP personnel matters, but said he would talk to the acting Orlando CBP port director and would also launch a review on the airport side of things, operational and queue management procedures. Now, we have reached out to CBP both yesterday and today. We have not yet heard back. Obviously, we'll update you should that change. The airport authority, meanwhile, just within the last half hour, did send me a statement saying that Lance Little's email represents the airport's position and that GOA, the Aviation Authority, is constantly looking for ways to elevate MCM. That full statement is on our website, WKMG, clickorlando.com, I should say. Guys?
That passenger certainly cites an odd scenario. Mike Valenti live for us at Orlando International today. Thank you so much. All right, well, people living in Brevard County are doing everything they possibly can to try to avoid a liquid natural gas facility from going up near their neighborhood.
Yeah, this has been the big talk of that neighborhood. Your Merritt Island community correspondent, James Sparvero, first spoke with the people who live there about this project about a month ago. So, James, you join us now again with an update. What's the update?
Hey, Matt and Ginger. So there was a commission meeting here at Port Canaveral. So on Merritt Island, on the barge canal, there is that vacant land, but it's actually owned here at the port. Some people I'm telling that to are surprised to hear that. So the port was approached by two energy companies, that's Chesapeake Utilities and Berkshire Hathaway, who want to purchase that land from the port. Space and maritime industries, which of course Brevard County is so important to, and they say there isn't a single factory that produces that here. The problem, though, is that it's just a few hundred feet away from residences. So all the people in the community have come out. They saw my first report in December. They gathered here at the commission meeting today to speak up even more than they already have at the December meeting, and the port took no action. So while plant representatives came to the podium and said the plant would be safe, that LNG is non-explosive and it's non-toxic, and even more people from the community came up and basically said that they don't trust what the plant is saying, the port took no action. I, though, got to speak for the first time with a plant representative, so I had some tough questions for them, some questions that I know people have on their minds, and that's going to come up at my story later today at 4:30, so I hope you guys tune in then.
We certainly will, James. Obviously, liquid natural gas is a big ingredient for these cruise ships to be successful as the new ones are all taking this stuff. What is next in this process here?
So because, as I mentioned, the port didn't take any action today, they will have to vote at some point. But for now, we know the residents can next take their concerns to a community meeting hosted by those energy companies. So that's coming up in February. It's going to be 3 weeks from now. When I get my full story on clickorlando.com, I'll have all the details for you, everybody. Matt and Ginger.
All right, James. Thank you very much. We appreciate the update. Well, the healthcare field is stepping up to try to protect people from what they say are expanding illnesses. and they're having to improve their infrastructure to do just that. So CVS Health is offering measles vaccines to Florida residents during the state's what they're calling an outbreak. Pharmacies and Minute Clinic locations statewide are open for walk-ins. We'll have vaccines available to protect people from the measles. While walk-ins are accepted, patients are encouraged to make appointments, though. Patients have to be at least 3 years old to get a shot at a pharmacy. The CDC says there are at least 6 cases of measles in the state. I do want to say, though, none of them are in Central Florida. But if you do want to be protected from the measles with a vaccine, that's a good option for you.
All right, so let's take a live look now. We are going to Washington, D.C. This is the U.S. Senate Commerce, Science, and Transportation Consumer Protection Committee. That's a mouthful. Having a hearing to examine the impact of ticket sales practices and bot resales on concert fans. This has been a real hot talker and a big issue moving ahead. Among those set to testify today, Kid Rock and officials at Live Nation, the world's leading live entertainment company. This comes as we're in the middle of yet another ticket controversy. We get these every so often. Harry Styles fans are furious. They say Ticketmaster is listing starting prices for his upcoming show in New York City, his only one in the U.S., at more than $1,000. That's the starting ticket price.
To see Harry Styles?
Well, no, it's worth it.
Oh, okay.
But I'm saying, who has that kind of money? The pre-sale ticket queue told buyers that they would see prices between $50 and $1,200. Those lower-priced options sold out immediately. You can see where I'm going here. Ticketmaster says it does not determine pricing for the shows, and it's not adjusting prices after tickets have been made available. And it's not just concert tickets anymore. We told you last week, about a week ago, how a number of people got locked out of the Ulta Beauty World. This was a hot talker, and people were mad about that. It's a makeup convention that's coming to Central Florida, and it was a really big deal. People all over the country were complaining, saying that they had registration issues and felt like they were duped.
Yeah. Getting one of these tickets is like
It was
winning
nearly
the lottery
impossible. It was
these
nearly
days.
impossible.
You have to be either really lucky or really skilled. People wonder if bots are taking all the tickets.
And for the Ulta Beauty World thing, we saw parents with like 3 or 4 computers lined up with their kids just trying to get tickets for their kids to go to this thing. So it really disrupted a lot of households.
I guess I just don't love my kids as much as those people because I would never do that. I'll be working on that. I have a lot of work to do in here. All right, well, months after 2 large companies laid off thousands of workers, they are now expected to do it again. This is terrible national news here. Amazon announced today it's laying off 16,000 employees. The company says it needs to increase the decision-making speed around AI. The cuts follow 14,000 others in October. Amazon says it'll continue to adjust the staffing as needed. Some more cuts could be coming, including potential hires in other areas, they say. This comes a day after UPS said it's cutting up to 30,000 jobs. That company says it is because the UPS is expecting to deliver fewer Amazon packages this year. So Amazon getting rid of people, and because of that, UPS getting rid of them as well. It's going to happen through attrition and voluntary separation offers for full-time drivers and those warehouse workers. UPS let go of tens of thousands of workers last year. It's unclear how many jobs from both companies will be cut, in particular from Central Florida. It's a real shame, though, because those UPS jobs, they have a very strong union, and they are high-paying jobs that you might not expect.
I was a Teamster in college because I had a UPS job, and I got a check every Friday. That thing helped pay my tuition. It was money.
Look at that.
I mean, so I get it.
A lot of those checks are going away now.
Yeah, that's sad. That's sad to report. Okay, something else that's sad to report. It's happening on the Gulf Coast. A woman is facing some charges after officials say she attacked her ex with a meat cleaver. All right, let's get you the details. Here's her mugshot. The Pinellas County Sheriff's Office says Laura Beth Blankenship walked into her ex's home just out of the blue last week and then walked into his bedroom, and they say she had a cleaver in one hand and a large rock in the other. Investigators say she told him, quote, "You need to die. You have to die." And before throwing the rock at him and coming at him with that cleaver, officials say he was able to wrestle that meat cleaver away from her and then call 911. That's when she left. And when officers arrived, he told them that she sent him multiple video messages threatening to kill him the days before this all happened. Blankenship is now charged with attempted first-degree murder, among other things. And I know the question that a lot of people are having or asking is, what did he do?
Okay, all right.
I mean, I'm just, they want to
blame the victim.
No, I'm not. But
If I have a choice
that's a question, like, what happened?
Well, he probably was just sleeping. And that's the worst. Maybe he fell asleep at an inopportune time.
Okay.
But if I have the choice between a rock and a cleaver, I'm going to go rock every
single time. All right. Well, there are a few things that are quite as painful as missing a pet. I can't even imagine. And some bad actors, they're capitalizing on that in a brand new way. People are just heartless. Here's what they're doing. A couple in St. Petersburg say that their German Shepherd puppy squeezed through a tiny gap in their backyard fence. They posted pictures of the dog on Facebook and Nextdoor looking for help. It's common. You see it all the time. Later that night, they got a call from someone claiming to be from St. Pete Police. They say that a car hit the dog and that she was in the hospital and needed surgery. Can you imagine getting that message? They even sent the couple of photos.
They sent a picture?
Yeah, these people. And they said they needed $1,900. And you know what the couple did? They sent it.
So it all sounded legit, and that's where I was like, okay, then can we come see her? And we're like, oh yeah, 9:30 in the morning.
All right. Except when they went to go get her the next day, the dog was already home sitting in their golf cart. So how in the world, you may ask, did they get a picture of that dog on the operating table? You know what the answer. You know what it is. It's AI. It's AI. It happens all the time. And officials say that they are not the first people to fall victim to this. Animal hospitals stress that they'll never ask you for an emergency payment over the phone. That is heartbreaking because you understand that you will do anything if your pet is hurt and here's a bill. Of course I'm going to pay it.
You would think you would drive. Tell me where to drive. I'll go there and I'll pay you in person.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Wild. After the break, we're getting another check of your forecast, that bitter cold. Unfortunately, it is not going anywhere.
Yeah, plus we have some new tools to tell you about. It's very important in the forecasting world. We'll talk about it. All right, everybody, we are inside a cozy, toasty studio. But if you were outside this morning, boy, did you feel that chill that you guys said was on the way. But I'm hearing you say some other words now, and it's really alarming because people need to get ready for what's to come.
Right. So we're really talking about the big cold heading our way Saturday night into Sunday, and that is when we're going to be talking about the potential of single-digit wind chill readings.
Oh.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's hard to really even think back to when we've seen something like that. It hasn't been since 2010. This is what we have going on right now, though. Pretty afternoon, so enjoy this. This is our Light Orlando Delivering Hope Together camera. You said you took a picture of your blue sky this morning.
It was so blue and clear, but it was not honest because it was cold.
It was cold, yes. Yes, it is not honest, but you know, it doesn't feel too bad out there right now. 60 degrees. Here's where we started today. So Ginger, at your house, probably right around 36, 37 degrees when you were out walking your dogs. 27 is where we were in Marion County this morning, 29 up in Flagler County. And again, we're going to get even colder as we head toward the weekend. Now, here's a look at our lows as we take you through the next 5 days. So overnight tonight, again in the 30s, then Friday and Saturday, not as bad in the 40s. But look at Sunday and Monday. So we're talking about temperatures. Those were in Orlando. So if we're talking about 26 in Orlando, we're talking about upper teens, low 20s in areas like Marion County. So Sunday and Monday, we wake up in the 20s. The last time we saw consecutive days in the 20s was in December of 2010. So that means we could potentially be talking about a hard freeze. So when we talk about hard freezes, that means our temperature is at or below 28 degrees for at least a few hours. So that's really more than just cover your pets. You know, we're talking about pipes, not cover your pets. You know, well, I mean, my pets sleep in my bed, so they do get covered.
Yeah,
your
it is
plants,
an Arctic
if you're a
blast. I
plant
found
person.
out that today was another weather alert day because of the app.
Yes, and so we will be keeping a weather alert status in place overnight tonight. And of course, you can get all those updates on our free News 6 weather app. Just search WKMG in your app store.
The freezing temperatures we've been seeing has farmers throughout Central Florida taking extra measures to protect their crops. I'm News 6's Mark Lehman, and we are in Eustis at Amber Brook Farms, and this is where sprinklers have been running throughout the night here, protecting this 5-acre strawberry field. With colder temperatures moving through the area, Amber Brook is applying frost protection to their fields. This is a process where overhead sprinklers are giving continuous water application to the crop. And the purpose of this is for the water to actually freeze over the plants, forming a protective layer of ice that keeps the berries from getting damaged by the colder temps. The water releases latent heat, and as it freezes and prevents the plants from dropping below 32 degrees. I spoke with the general manager out here, and he tells me that all of this can actually have a benefit to the fruit.
I guess the only upside of this process is we might have some sweeter fruit. So the fruit itself is going to produce more sugar as an antifreeze. So that's its natural protection. So if you come out this weekend and do U-pick, you'll have some sweeter fruit.
Kayla Bradley tells me that they'll be doing this for several days, and that's important because their Strawberry Festival is coming up in a couple of weeks on February 14th. He also says this process will continue through this weekend when temps are expected to dip into the low 20s. For now, reporting in Eustis, Mark Lehman, News 6.
I mean, I saw one of Mark's reports earlier this morning, and he said this cold weather actually will give you sweeter fruit.
Yeah.
So there is an upside.
Look at that perk.
It's weird to think that putting ice on the berries would actually protect them, but
It would kill them, but no.
All right. Well, we do know that all the focus right now is on this cold weather that we're dealing with, but we're also looking ahead to something that we hate to think about and talk about,
I
but
feel
we
like
have
we
to.
just got out of hurricane season, so
Correct.
now we're counting down to the
did.
beginning of hurricane season, which begins, of course, June 1st every year.
But there's some good news here. There's some scientific research going on that could potentially give us warnings a little quicker than we have in the past. We want to bring in our meteorologist, Jonathan Kegas, to talk about that. Jonathan, what do we know?
Yeah, you know, hurricanes, don't want to even talk about that. Hey, you know, at least the colder air is going to help to keep that Gulf a little chilly, at least to start.
That's
There's
good
a
news.
positive there. Yeah, so it's artificial intelligence. Companies continue to come out with this technology. There's a new one being built over in China. But last year, the Hurricane Center was working with Google. So that was a big deal for their AI model. And what AI does, it's not like it's going to take over the world or anything or become the brain for the forecaster. That is still important. However, we use things called analogs. So if there's a certain type of environmental thing setting up, okay, we have high pressure here, we have low pressure here. Have we seen this before? Certainly history repeats itself. So that computer can go back into history, can take that into account with the environmental conditions, environmental factors that are going on right now, and help to give a potentially better solution than some of the math and physics-based models that we've been relying on for decades now. Melissa last year, the Google DeepMind AI model, it did really well. Every one of its 50 different members, it's an ensemble, so there's different initial conditions put in.
Okay.
Each one of them had it getting to, I think like 49 out of the 50 had it getting to Cat 5 status, like before.
Wow.
So I mean, it
That's
was
impressive.
locked on, yeah.
It sounds like it's just another tool for you guys to use, but it's not the only thing you're relying on. for
Exactly,
sure.
because there are times too that it doesn't intensify it enough. It doesn't understand some things. Maybe there's something that is completely out of whack and it just doesn't get it. So definitely a tool in the toolbox. It's exciting going forward because of those early warnings.
And it's going to get better with time.
It
which
is, just like regular
the whole
AI.
point of AI. All right,
Yeah.
Jonathan Kagas,
You got it.
interesting stuff.
You'll
Thank you
never
very
be
much.
replaced by AI, John.
No,
Thanks, Jim.
absolutely not. We will, but you won't.
Oh no, definitely not.
All right, well, one of the biggest stories that we've been covering this week is the sudden closure of Legends Academy. It's a charter school.
Yeah, and that's not the only school that we've been talking a lot about. Of course, Cape View Elementary in Brevard County, Orange County Public Schools has a proposal to shut down 7 schools.
Yeah, we've been talking about this a lot, and the person who's been covering it is our News 6, Jarrell Baker. Jarrell, thanks for joining us. We want to know what these schools are doing to make sure those teachers still have jobs.
Well, with those teachers and with those jobs, as you can imagine, if anybody lost their job, you'd be scrambling right now. And that's what they've been going through over this past month. And not only that, the students that were connected to those teachers, they are still trying to figure out their way through it. There's a organization in Winter Park that is a learning center that is offering a solution. So basically what they want to do is offer a homeschool support group where they hire those teachers and have small groups of 5 so they can reconnect with those displaced students and also other students within Orange County. So even though it's a lot of turmoil and people are still trying to figure out, the lives have been ripped apart a little bit, this gives them an opportunity to not only reconnect with those students, but also to get back to doing what they love.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought this up because a lot of times when this happens, we focus understandably on the parents and the students, but you forget about the teachers who lost their jobs.
Exactly.
They're in a tough spot.
Exactly, because when I did my story with them, and that's actually how they got in touch with the teachers. They saw our reporting, and we were speaking with some of those teachers that said that we couldn't apply for unemployment checks after this thing happened, and they didn't get a severance as well, too. This gives them a chance so they can get some money in their pocket and also get back to doing what they love. And everybody's just trying to figure it out right now, and they're just offering this solution, hoping it comes together. And if they can get teachers hired, it can be started as early as February.
That would be, I know I've seen some of your reporting, Jarrell, and I love that you talk to the families who are impacted and the students too. We forget about the kids because they feel like they don't even have a say in this. And if you had a favorite teacher and all of a sudden that teacher was just ripped away from you, that's a big deal.
Exactly. Like, I'm 34 years old. I have trouble remembering my scripts. I can imagine a whole school year at a younger age trying to remember that. So them having their whole lives just apart, this may be something that can help them moving forward.
Hey, you did a good job with your scripts today. Thank you.
Thanks, Jarrell.
All right, Lisa.
Yeah, News 6 at 4 is just minutes away. But first, as Central Florida grows, infrastructure needs to keep up. What officials in one community want to do to make sure they are set for the future. Well, it is hard to find a city in Central Florida that is not running out of space. We have so many people moving here all the time. And with more people, as we know, comes more traffic.
We're booming, that's for sure. In Apopka, that means taking a look at the entire city to see where things can be expanded to keep up with all of that growth. As News 6's Stephanie Rodriguez explains, leaders worry about planning and investment. Current infrastructure won't be able to keep up with the demand.
As commercial properties and new neighborhoods continue to be built, Apopka is projected to face increasing transportation challenges in the coming years. Issues people are already dealing with.
I've noticed an increase in traffic, especially near the planning of new communities. And when we first got here, it was very little.
Several of the city's roads already have more cars than they can handle, like Round Lake.
I know it's overcapacity.
Where Otis Dover has lived for more than 50 years.
You can't get out on the road without getting ran over. In fact, I've been hit right here at this intersection trying to make a left turn.
He feels it can only get worse as more people move in.
I know development is out of control.
As leaders try to create a plan of action to improve transportation for cars, pedestrians, and cyclists, residents hope it actually makes a difference.
What would I like to see done? Somehow slow the traffic down, minimize the amount of cars coming down through here.
Stephanie Rodriguez, News 6.
It's all about growth. All right, we're getting ready for News 6 at 4 o'clock.
Coming up at 4, your Volusia County community correspondent Molly Reed is speaking with a family who reached out to us for help. They say a local city is trying to charge them $700 to turn on the water in their new home. News 6 at 4 starts now.
Streaming on clickorlando.com and broadcasting live. You're watching News 6 at 4.
3 years after the death of 9-year-old Tayana Major, her family is now pushing to make changes at the state level to protect all children when there's a serious public threat.
Take a look at this big old pile right here. You can see where this demo is already underway for this Frito-Lay facility in Orlando. Coming up, we will share what officials have to say about how they're trying to help the hundreds of people who are expected to lose their job.
Deltona residents are coming to News 6 saying they need help and answers as to why they are now paying new steep deposit fees just to turn their water on. I'm Molly Reed. Coming up, we go to the city for answers as to why these fees went up.
And of course, we will get to those stories in just a minute. But first, we're taking a look at those cold temps. Freeze warnings are in effect tonight with temps dipping into the 20s and 30s. And it is about to get even colder into the weekend.
Meteorologist Julie Broughton joins us now with everything we can expect. Julie.
Well, we are talking about some of the coldest temperatures we've seen in about 15, 16 years as we head into the weekend. Here's how we're looking right now. Now, you saw just a little bit earlier those temperatures. Some of us started the day in the 20s today, and that's where we'll go again tonight. But our Light Orlando Delivering Hope Together camera showing lots of blue sky. Really pretty afternoon. In fact, we've managed to get to 60 degrees in some spots, which is still about 12 degrees cooler than normal. You're sitting at 59 right now in Cocoa Beach, and Wildwood, you are at 59 degrees as well. Now, we started the day at 27 in Ocala. You are at 32 in Leesburg and 35 in Sanford. We have those freeze warnings posted just about everywhere for tonight. Those will be in place until 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. We also have cold weather advisories posted because of the wind chill readings. It will feel like the 20s just about everywhere. And as we head through the next couple of days, again, 36 overnight tonight. Then we'll go into the 40s for Friday and Saturday. But I want you to look at Sunday and Monday. That's when we're talking about back-to-back days in the 20s in Orlando. So we are talking about the potential of single-digit wind chill readings, especially northwest of I-4. And I'm sure you've heard on social media some buzz about some snow. So we will check out what's going on with that next time I see you guys.
All right, Julie, thank you. And we know here in Florida, we're not necessarily used to these colder temps. So we put together a guide for you. It includes how to prepare your pets, plants, pipes, and also your pool. Just head to clickorlando.com/freeze guide.
It has been almost 3 years since a man went on a shooting spree in Pine Hills. A TV journalist, a 38-year-old woman, and 9-year-old Tiana Major all died.
Now the family of that little girl is at the state capitol working to protect children whenever there's a serious threat to the public. News 6's Jana Manahalal joins us now live from the newsroom. And Jana, the family is pushing to create what they're calling the Yaya Alert.
That's right, Ginger. The goal is to create stronger communication and faster alerts during emergencies. As one family member told me today, better communication can save lives.
We must protect our children. And that's what Yaya Alert is about. And that's what Yaya Alert will help do.
Nearly 3 years after her death, the family of 9-year-old Tiana Yaya Major is pushing for a new statewide alert system designed to protect Florida's children.
We don't want anybody to go through what we are going through.
I had the opportunity to speak with Tiana's aunt about the process.
The one person we couldn't save was her. So to save another child or to help another family be saved, that means more to us than anything.
The proposal would create a Yaya Alert, linking schools, law enforcement, and child care facilities statewide whenever there's a confirmed imminent threat in the area.
Every minute without an alert is a minute where parents are dropping off their kids. Teachers are opening classroom doors, and child care workers are welcoming children without knowing what's happening just blocks away.
State Senator Chevron Jones is pushing the bill, which has yet to be scheduled for a hearing.
Your kids bury you. That's not what's happening right now. And we have to stop that.
In 2023, the 9-year-old, along with 38-year-old Natasha Augustine, as well as reporter Dylan Lyons, were shot and killed. Keith Moses was arrested and charged with the murders. Critics say the Orange County Sheriff's Office did not tell the community they were actively looking for Moses or that he could be in the area. The proposed bill would require law enforcement to activate the emergency alert system to notify public and private schools and child care facilities of an imminent threat.
Everybody is needed in this. This is a community affair. It's not just Pine Hills, not just Orlando, it's Florida.
The families of the victims in the Keith Moses case, including Major's families, are suing the sheriff's office over that perceived lack of communication. Live in the newsroom, I'm your Orange County community correspondent, Jana Manahalal, News 6.
Jana, thank you. This is scary. A couple living in an apartment says they were cooking in their kitchen when they suddenly heard gunshots next door. This happened at an apartment on South Kirkman Road near Conroy Road 2 weeks ago in Orange County. The couple told police they first heard loud knocking noises on their walls, then gunshots. They also saw some bullet holes in their apartment. When officers went to the apartment where the shooting was coming from, no one was inside. They say they found 25 spent rifle casings in the living room. The couple also found mail and prescriptions belonging to Kevin Anderson. They said their criminal history check revealed Anderson is a felon and he's not allowed to own guns. He was arrested yesterday, charged with attempted felony murder and aggravated assault. He remains in jail.
We are working to learn more details about a shooting at a gas station in Orange County. It happened this morning at the 7-Eleven on East Colonial Drive, close to Bonneville Drive. That's east of the 408. Now, deputies say they found the man in his 40s hurt from that shooting. They took him to the hospital and we're told he is expected to be okay. Investigators did not say what led up to the shooting or if they're looking for any suspects in this. As soon as we learn more, we'll keep you updated.
We now know the name of the man involved in an hours-long standoff with deputies. We told you about this as breaking news throughout News 6 at 4 yesterday afternoon. It happened at a home on Sonco Avenue in Orange County. That's right near Keens Crossing Elementary School, not far from Winter Garden Vineland Road and the 429. The Orange County Sheriff's Office says 66-year-old Richard Stoner shot a woman. She was taken to the hospital with life-threatening injuries. Investigators believe he then went back inside the home. That led to a standoff that lasted for hours, putting nearby Keens Elementary School on a hold. That means there was limited movement on campus, but normal operations continued inside the classrooms. When investigators finally got inside the house, they say they found Stoner dead from an apparent self-inflicted gunshot wound. Earlier today, deputies said the woman remains in the hospital.
A Central Florida business that has been around for 60 years is vanishing. The Frito-Lay plant closed down last year, and today demolition began. Your Orange County community correspondent Tylisa Hampton joins us now live from the site of that plant. And Tylisa, even as that plant is being demolished, many of the former employees are still out there looking for work.
That's exactly right, Ginger. County officials actually tell me that they are planning another career fair to help those hundreds of employees who need this job. We've been talking about this demolition all day, so take a look. You can see this big old pile over my shoulder. You can see where it has begun just in this area, but also in the middle over here where you can kind of see crews still working, but you can also see how much more they have to go. Bending and breaking down metal. The demolition of the Frito-Lay plant in Orlando has begun after PepsiCo announced last year it would close 2 facilities, laying off 500 employees. The company has said the decision for the closure and demo was driven by business needs. Pepsi says workers will get transition assistance, career support, and pay and benefits through the process. Although there's been no word yet on what could happen to this property after this demo, we did learn from County Commissioner Michael Scott's office they are still planning to further help people who lost their job.
It's devastating.
That was Scott back in December when the county held a career fair in the wake of the layoffs.
I just pray that everybody here who's looking for a job will get what they need.
However, weeks later, his office says many workers are still looking for a new job. Now his office is in the early stages of planning another job fair, specifically for those workers who may have a harder time finding their next paycheck. And by early stages, Scott's office said that actually means they're still looking for those employers, for those specific employees who do need a job, because they want to make sure that the hundreds of employees who are still probably looking for a job will have a paycheck soon. And we did reach out to PepsiCo to ask them, again, what will happen to this property after this demo. And once we hear back, we'll make sure to update you on that. Reporting in Orange County, I'm News 6's Tylisa Hampton. Back to you.
Tylisa, thank you. Now to a look at stocks just after the closing bell. It's been pretty flat for most of the day. The Dow ended up just 12 points. The S&P was also mostly flat. NASDAQ ended up 0.17% today. The Federal Reserve pushed the pause button on its interest rate cuts today. It is leaving its key rate unchanged at about 3.6% after lowering it 3 times last year. The central bank said in a statement that there are signs the job market has stabilized.
The U.S. economy expanded at a solid pace last year and is coming into 2026 on a firm footing. While job gains have remained low, the unemployment rate has shown some signs of stabilization, and inflation remains somewhat elevated.
President Trump has been pressuring the central bank to cut rates.
Well, we've been reporting on Central Floridians facing sky-high water bills, but now people who live in Deltona are struggling to pay new steep deposit fees just to have their water turned on. So they turned to News 6 for some answers in this. Your Volusia County community correspondent Molly Reed took their concerns straight to City Hall, pushing for explanations and help.
I met a family here at City Hall today who was stunned to see the fee to turn on the water and sewer in their new home. Now, I also reached out to a city commissioner and asked her to meet us here to hopefully get the family some help and also some answers as to why these fees are so high.
$500 for water deposit, $150 for reclaimed water, and a $55 activation fee.
Cynthia Scott says they were shocked and confused when they got the bill.
Nobody gave me this information in writing. It was just all verbal.
Cynthia and her husband Matt tell me they tried visiting City Hall multiple times over 3 weeks, but kept hitting walls. For one, they thought they should be exempt from the deposit since they're not new customers. That's what the city's master plan says. But they also wanted to know why the cost was so high.
You know, the whole reason I came to you guys too was because it's the matter of somebody having to put food on the table or pay to turn their water on.
Now, while talking to Cynthia outside of City Hall here, Matt went back inside to try one more time to sort this out. We were able to get the attention of the city's finance director, who reviewed their records and dropped their fee down to about $300. But for many, the deposit fee will still be close to $700. Commissioner Emma Santiago told me this change is about making up for the difference for bills left unpaid by others, costs that all taxpayers used to cover.
Renters. They either leave and don't pay the final bill, or throughout time they accumulate that.
In October, the City Commission unanimously approved a new fee plan to cover those losses, switching from deposits based on meter size to a credit score-based system.
In the last 15 years last year, we found out it was close to $2 million that the city had to write off.
While other utility companies use credit scores for deposits, residents like the Scotts want the city to stay consistent.
And why is it differ from the electric companies?
Now, the city's master plan does not give specific credit score ranges, but instead goes by good, average, and poor. If you're interested in what your fee could be here in Deltona, we're putting all of the information on our website, clickorlando.com. I'm your Volusia County Community Correspondent Molly Reed, News 6.
New weapon detectors are heading to more Central Florida high schools.
The impact this could have on safety and what students will face at the door, that's coming up.
We're not the only ones dealing with a cold snap this week. We're here at Gatorland to talk to the experts about how alligators cope with the cold.
This portion of the news is sponsored by Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino.
We're not the only ones dealing with the cold snap this week. I'm Catherine Silver. We're here at Gatorland talking to the experts about how alligators cope in the cold. How cold is too cold for Floridians? And by Floridians, we mean these locals.
They're reptiles. If it's about 80, 85 degrees outside, that is perfect for them.
Brandon Fisher is an alligator expert here at Gatorland. How does the park prepare for a week like this when we know we're going to have this cold weather?
Whatever animals that can't do very good in the super cold, we're going to start putting heaters in their exhibit. We're going to give them hay or bedding or pads or blankets.
When it comes to alligators and crocodiles, big and small.
If it was cloudy, I don't think it'd be very good walking around here, and the gators wouldn't like it at all.
Fisher says they stay warmer in the water.
It's a lot warmer than the air.
They're like us. They want warm water or warm sun.
Exactly. You know, for reptiles, you know, to go from 35, 36 degrees as a low to, we're talking 25, 26, you know, a 10-degree difference on the weekend, that's a lot for a reptile.
We know other animals will hibernate. What do alligators do?
So here in Florida, they don't necessarily hibernate, but where you get into those other states further north, a little more west, where you have where the water freezes, you get more freezing temperatures, they do a form of hibernation called brumation. And basically they stick their nose above the surface of the water, let the water freeze around them, and a day, 2 days, maybe a week at the most, that it takes a few inches of ice to thaw out, they go on their merry way.
Alligators are like the ultimate survivor in a lot of ways. They've been doing this for years and years and years.
At least this species, 37 million years is how long the American alligator's been on the earth. So this isn't the only cold snap that they've gone through in their lifetime. I think they can sense that it's gonna cool down, winter's coming. They might eat a little more, you know, to kind of beef up a little bit.
They're saying hi.
They are saying hi this morning. That's called bellowing.
That's not a burr?
No, it's not a burr, not at all. But it could be, you know, hey, this is my spot. This is where I want to be. Don't stand in my sunspot.
At Gatorland, they certainly prefer the heat.
They definitely do.
Catherine Silver, News 6.
As do we.
I was just going to say, I'm with the Gators. And this is a little much. Like, I think most people who are in Florida like a little break, you know, and like a few days, but this is going on for some time, Julie.
Yeah, this is quite a stretch. And what we saw this morning really is nothing compared to what is headed our way this weekend. Now, for tonight, again, it will be similar to what we saw this morning, 20s and 30s. We have freeze warnings posted as well as cold weather advisories because of the wind chill. And then as we end the day Saturday, we're talking about a strong cold front passing through early in the day. That could bring some rain late Friday night into early Saturday. Behind that front on Saturday, the temperatures will drop. The winds are really going to pick up. We're talking about the potential of wind gusts up to around 40 miles per hour. And then Sunday, we're looking at record cold, hard freeze. And of course, you've probably also heard some talk about snow. So we're going to look at a model in just a minute and show you the potential of that. Now, here's our setup in the mid and upper levels of the atmosphere. Notice this big dip. So a big dip in the jet stream, letting all that cold Arctic air spill to the south. Much of the U.S. is cooler than normal. But as that trough digs in even further, it will help to bring that cold front through Saturday. So I want to go ahead and show you what we are expecting for Sunday morning. Now, this could be potentially the coldest weather we have seen since December 2010. You could wake up to 20 in Reddick, 20 in Ocala, 21 for your morning low on Sunday in Paisley, 23 in DeLand. We're looking at 24 in Hollapaw, 25 in Celebration, really 20s everywhere, which means we are talking about the potential of wind chill readings Sunday morning in the single digits in some spots. It will be 23 when you wake up Sunday morning to Tavares, and we're looking at 24 in Wedgefield. Now, I want to go ahead and jump ahead to the modeling for you. This is your clouds and rain forecast showing that front. So this is Friday evening, 9 o'clock. Now we're starting to see the potential of a little bit more rain Friday evening. Here is our front. This pushes through Friday into Saturday morning. So Saturday morning at 2 o'clock, still looking at some spotty showers. We get that front out of here, and then that cold air settles in, riding in on those strong northerly winds. But notice as we take you through Saturday and into Saturday night, the blue on the modeling over across our western counties, 7 o'clock, that is where we are looking at a very small chance that we could see a few flurries flying. So this is what we call Gulf effect. It's basically like lake effect snow. So you've got the cold air going over the relatively warmer waters of the Gulf. It expands, it picks up some moisture, and then when it moves back over the cold land mass, then it will kind of squeeze out the potential of a flurry or two. Even into 9 o'clock, the model's picking up along I-4 down in areas like Polk County, that potential of just a few flurries. So something that would be interesting if it happens. Our Daytona Beach sky cam right now showing blue skies, 61 degrees. Most of us are right around that 60-degree mark. On average, about 5 to 10 degrees warmer than we were yesterday at this time. Now, your hour-by-hour forecast.
Your forecast is sponsored by Renewal by Anderson.
This is Evie or Evie having a great lazy day. She's sitting at 56 degrees at 6 o'clock. We drop to 50 degrees by 8 o'clock. Overnight tonight, 36 in Orlando, 28 in Ocala. 7-day forecast showing Friday and Saturday morning not quite as cold, but Sunday and Monday and even into Tuesday, we are looking at temperatures near or below freezing with back-to-back days in the 20s Sunday and Monday.
All right, Julie, thank you. Another school district is going high-tech when it comes to keeping kids safe at school.
The new detection system coming to high schools that leaders say will help keep weapons off campus. That's next.
This portion of the news is sponsored by Light Orlando.
Marion County is the latest school district in Central Florida to go high-tech to keep weapons off campus.
Last night, the school board unanimously approved the purchase of an open gate weapons detection system. Students pass through special screeners, which are designed to detect weapons on individuals as well as in backpacks. The plan is for all traditional high schools to get 2 of the systems with extras on hand for graduations and to use at other schools. The total price tag, $400,000.
How will this look from a student perspective as we are entering our campus? And then also for graduations, I know that places like the World Equestrian Center can be very complex and there are a lot of entrances. So just how will it look?
It's going to be a lot of education. It's going to be a lot of public relations, information sent out prior to the implementation of this process. Students will get the opportunity to visually see either through video or some type of one-page flyers or something, how all this still works.
You may remember last year, Brevard County Public Schools implemented its own open gate weapons detection system to 16 of its traditional high schools.
Well, for thousands of families, the school year has fallen apart.
Yeah, that's because their school is shutting down. But coming up, who is stepping in to help those families and teachers without a job?
More concerned neighbors who say they don't want to live close to a liquefied natural gas plant. I'll bring you an update on the controversial proposal.
As we take a live look over Port Canaveral, looking beautiful out there. You're watching News 6. We'll be right back. Welcome back. We're following several top stories right now. It's been almost 3 years since a man went on a shooting spree in Pine Hills.
A TV journalist, a 38-year-old woman, and a 9-year-old named Tiana Yaya Major died. Now the family of that little girl is at the state capitol working to protect children whenever there's a serious threat to the public through a bill called the Yaya Alert. The goal is to create stronger communications and faster alerts during emergencies. We now know the name of the man involved in an hours-long standoff with deputies. It happened at a home on Sunco Avenue near Windermere yesterday. The Orange County Sheriff's Office says 66-year-old Richard Stoner shot a woman. She was taken to the hospital with life-threatening injuries. After an hours-long standoff, deputies say that they went into the home and say Stoner shot himself. Right now in Orlando, workers are demolishing the Frito-Lay plant. Back in November, Pepsi closed the plant on John Young Parkway. It was built in 1965. More than 400 people lost their jobs.
A Brevard County community is fighting to keep a fuel plant away from their neighborhood. The proposal was addressed at today's Port Canaveral Commission meeting. Your Merritt Island community correspondent James Barbero took the neighbors' concerns to the developer.
I'm not just worried, I'm horrified by this LNG facility.
More concerned neighbors who say they don't want to live close to a liquefied natural gas plant. They're worried about Chesapeake Utilities and Berkshire Hathaway trying to buy land here on the barge canal that's owned by the port. The energy companies say the plant would be safe.
LNG is non-toxic.
But these neighbors don't trust them.
This is an insane proposal and it should immediately be rejected.
Wednesday, the port didn't vote whether they'll sell the land or not, but I got to talk for the first time with a representative of the project.
Because LNG is the future fuel for both the maritime and space industries.
Alex Nye works for Chesapeake's communications department. And why do you think residents shouldn't be concerned for their safety?
Natural gas is being used on Merritt Island already. So homes and businesses already have natural gas service here.
Would you be comfortable living close to this plant?
Yeah, and frankly, we're going to have our people who are going to live and work here operate this plant.
Neighbors who address commissioners like Bob Wise say the closest home to the plant would be within a few hundred feet. Alex told me there are multiple LNG plants in the country that are directly next to neighborhoods. If this plant were to get built, it sounds like some of your neighbors might consider moving.
Probably would. If they build it like the ones in Louisiana and Texas, and they're getting bad smells and actually toxic fumes.
So with no decision yet from the port, next the residents can take their concerns to a meeting hosted by the energy companies. It's coming up in 3 weeks, and I'll put the full details on clickorlando.com. In Brevard County, I'm your Merritt Island community correspondent, James Sparvero, News 6.
A somber day for the nation's space program. It was 40 years ago, January 28, 1986, when Space Shuttle Challenger broke apart during liftoff. All 7 astronauts on board were killed, including Krista McCullough, who was set to be the first teacher in space. She was selected out of 11,000 applicants to be the first participant in NASA's Teacher in Space program. The disaster was later blamed on a seal in the solid rocket booster that failed because of the cold weather that morning, allowing hot gases to escape. The tragedy forced a redesign of those rockets, and it also led to a major culture shift when it came to safety inside the space agency.
And as we remember that sad day, NASA is getting ready for its next big mission, a crewed launch to the moon for the first time in decades. The agency says as soon as this weekend, it could go through a so-called wet dress rehearsal on the massive Space Launch System rocket. That includes fueling it up and then doing a practice countdown to launch. NASA says if the test goes well, the mission to send astronauts around the moon and back may happen in the next few months. Mission managers say they are taking extra steps to protect the rocket from the cold temperatures. Meantime, we just had a launch from the Space Coast overnight. SpaceX's Falcon 9 rocket carried a new GPS satellite for the U.S. Space Force. The booster landed safely on a drone ship in the Atlantic, and there is no slowing down for SpaceX. There's another launch set for tomorrow night at around 11 p.m. Remember, you can be in the know for all things space through our Covering Space Coast and Beyond newsletter. It goes right to your email every week. Just go to clickorlando.com/newsletters to subscribe.
Well, we are learning the officers involved in the deadly shooting of Minneapolis resident Alex Preddy have been on administrative leave since Saturday. President Trump's border czar, Tom Homan, is in Minneapolis now, leading the ongoing immigration operations. He's been in back-to-back meetings today with federal and local officials as the administration completes a different course forward for immigration enforcement there. Meanwhile, police arrested Anthony Kuzmerchek, who assaulted Congresswoman Ilhan Omar during a town hall last night, spraying her with a liquid. She continued with the event.
We are Minnesota strong, and we will stay resilient in the face of whatever they might throw at us.
Omar said on social media that she is doing okay and will not be intimidated by a, quote, small agitator. Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem is facing fresh criticism today following Saturday's deadly shooting in Minneapolis. In the wake of the shooting, Senate Democrats say they will not support funding DHS without additional restrictions on ICE that could lead to a partial government shutdown this weekend. Erica Brown is on Capitol Hill with the latest.
There are new calls Wednesday for DHS Secretary Kristi Noem to be fired or face impeachment proceedings in the wake of Saturday's shooting death of Alex Preddy by federal agents.
She clearly doesn't know how to manage. She's never managed a large organization, and she's failing at every possible measure of the job.
Republican Senators Tom Tillis and Lisa Murkowski have joined congressional Democrats who are calling for her ouster, even as President Trump continues to stand by her.
We've
confidence in Noam? As long as the president does, I'll support it.
Other Republicans are calling for an independent investigation.
At no point in time do I see an assault, and I don't think anybody in America believes he was assaulting those officers.
The backlash to the Minneapolis shooting has led to a showdown here on Capitol Hill. Senate Democrats are vowing not to fund the Department of Homeland Security unless reforms to immigration and customs enforcement are put in place.
Rein in ICE and end the violence. That's our goal.
Lawmakers have until the end of Friday to reach a deal or face a partial government shutdown, something both sides say they want to avoid.
Americans want accountability, so let's have a separate vote and a separate debate.
I think the administration is willing to sit down with them and have a discussion, perhaps a negotiation about how do we move forward. But the one thing I do know, and that is that a government shutdown is not in anybody's interest.
Congress has already passed 6 bills to fund various parts of the government, but 6 more remain. Erica Brown, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
A judge ruled that the Florida agency in charge of the so-called alligator Alcatraz must release all communications with the federal government about its operations. The judge in Leon County says the Florida Division of Emergency Management has just over 2 weeks to release all texts, emails, and other communication to the nonprofit Friends of the Everglades. This is the latest development in a 6-month legal battle between the state and the environmental group over whether the facility is complying with environmental laws.
Well, for thousands of Orange County families, the school year has been ripped apart. Campuses closed, classrooms empty, and teachers left wondering what comes next. But in the middle of all of this uncertainty, one local counseling and tutoring group is stepping in after they saw our story right here on News 6. Your Orange County community correspondent Jarrell Baker shows us how they're turning setback into opportunity.
School closures across Central Florida are turning families' lives upside down. Students forced to start over, leaving teachers without a classroom or a paycheck.
Since maybe August, there's so much more need, like even before the school closures.
This week, the Orange County School District confirming more school closures could be on the way, but the Hartman Center, a tutoring and counseling group in Winter Park, may have a solution for both students and displaced teachers.
It's still heartbreaking because like right now when I went into my old classroom, it brought back all kind of memories.
After watching our reports on the closures, Abby Hartman and Abby McCarthy say that they're now connecting with former educators from these shuttered schools, creating a homeschool support group.
We support maybe 5 to 10 students at a time where parents can choose to send their students here for 1, 2, 3, or even 4 days a week for 3 to 4 hours at a time and work with a certified teacher in these really tiny small groups with a research-based curriculum.
They believe that it can expand their services and reconnect those teachers with displaced students.
You know, the hope is that they can grow and they can pay their bills and they can, you know,
and stay in the field of education.
Stay in the field that we all love, that we see disappearing in front of our eyes.
They've already spoken with teachers from Chickasaw and McCoy Elementary, as well as Legends Academy, all schools slated to shutter. The center hopes to get the program running as soon as February. We'll check back. I'm your Orange County community correspondent, Jarrell Baker.
A family's desperate search for their missing puppy led to them losing nearly $2,000.
How scammers used an AI picture of their dog to convince them they had found her.
Plus, we're heading to the beach and showing you the best way to capture pictures of fast-moving birds. That's next, Julie.
Oh my gosh, that is so cute. Can't wait to see that. We have winter weather advisories posted again tonight, but by this weekend, we are looking at the potential of single-digit wind chill readings. I'll break it all down in minutes.
And as we head to break, we want to remind you to check out our prime time schedule on News 6 Plus. We have a new take on the day's news on News 6 tonight. That's at 9. Go in depth as we answer your weather questions at 9:30. Then watch the late news an hour earlier. It's all tonight on News 6 Plus. Download our streaming app for free. Search WKMG in your smart TV's app store. It's also available on Roku, Apple TV, and Fire TV.
This portion of the news is sponsored by Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino.
What's up, beaches? Today on Everyday Wild, we're at the Atlantic Ocean looking for sanderlings. They're actually behind me.
Okay, confession time. I always just thought these birds hated getting their feet wet. Turns out, I'm sort of right. They run from the waves because they are tiny. So while it looks like they're fleeing a crime scene, really, they're just living on the edge, gobbling up the tiny crustaceans the waves rip from the sand, and then getting out of Dodge before the ocean eats them back to Te Fiti. Like true Floridians, sanderlings are snowbirds, migrating thousands of miles every year to spend their winters with surfers, tourists, and way too tan grandparents. Taking pictures at the beach comes with some challenges.
My camera's covered in sand. I'm also covered in sand.
The sand, the water,
Or this is the part where I get really dirty.
the half-naked humans looking at you funny. But if you can handle all that,
I have to drive home after this.
you're rewarded with trying to photograph a tiny bird that runs fast.
Oh, where did they go? Wrong bird. There you are. I'm so fast.
You're going to miss a lot of shots. But if you go later in the day, you get to capture the bedtime routine. A snack, a bath, a little preening, and a nap. But the best part? Those beachy vibes.
All right, all the birds left. Guess we'll go too. This bird.
That's it for today, humans. Go to the beach, take pictures of dinosaurs, and post your photos on clickorlando.com/pins.
Those are great pictures, but I don't know if I'm capable of doing that on my iPhone.
Did you see the size of the lens?
I want to know how much that camera costs in order to get those
and
pictures.
to get it closer. I want Joey and Paul Giorgio to now do a special together.
Ooh.
Wouldn't that be fun?
A photo off.
Yeah, exactly. I'm here for it.
Okay. All right.
Traffic on I-4 was delayed this morning for a very unusual reason, especially here in Florida.
So apparently frozen water somehow formed on I-4 near Sanford. Crews had to come out and scrape it off in order to keep drivers safe. Drivers had to merge to the left while they worked to clear the road. At one point, traffic almost slowed to a halt. That is, I guess, the only good news in all of this is we don't have a lot of moisture that's taking place. It's creating even more dangerous situations.
And we don't have to learn the hard way that you cannot drive on ice.
Oh my goodness, it's the
You just
worst,
can't.
isn't it?
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
not safe. But we do have winter weather advisories posted for tonight once again. And then we have even colder weather headed our way this weekend. I'll show you that in a moment. But first, this is what's going on tonight with those freeze warnings posted just about everywhere. You could, of course, keep up with all the advisories with our free News 6 weather app. You can just search WKMG in your app store. All of us are also under cold weather advisories because of dangerous wind chill readings tomorrow morning. As you are heading out to work and school tomorrow, it will feel like the mid-20s, low 30s. That's why we have designated tonight a weather alert night. And then as we enter the weekend, Friday into Saturday, we are tracking a strong cold front. That will bring us some showers, looks like Friday evening into the very early morning hours on Saturday. And behind that on Saturday, those temperatures will really drop for us quickly. That Arctic air building in quickly, and the winds will pick up as well. So really Saturday into Sunday going to be just miserable feeling days. Sunday morning, we all wake up in the 20s. It will feel like the single digits in some spots. Highs will only go into the 40s, and some of the models are putting a few flurries into the southwestern part of our viewing area on Saturday night into Sunday morning. Here's how it looks when you wake up Sunday morning. Now, these are our actual temperatures. The average low is in the 50s. 20 in Ocala, 21 Sunday morning in the Villages, 26 in Orlando, and 28 in Melbourne. But look at the wind chill readings for Sunday morning. We are looking at single-digit wind chill readings, possibly in Ocala, feeling like 8 degrees, feel like 6 degrees in Palm Coast, and it will feel like 13 degrees in Orlando. Now, here's a look at the potential for frost and freeze. And we don't talk about hard freezes a lot in Central Florida because for hard freeze status to be reached, you have to get to 28 degrees and stay there for a few hours. But you can see Sunday morning everywhere in Central Florida, we are looking at that potential of a hard freeze. So it is a night where you will definitely want to cover up your plants, bring in any sensitive vegetation, also bring in your pets. And then we're also going to be dealing with the potential of pipe issues. You'll want to cover your exterior pipes, maybe open your cabinets in your house so that can kind of warm the pipes as your home is heated, and keep your pool pump running if you can. Here's a look at the clouds and rain forecast. Notice the timestamp up there. I'm going to go ahead and jump ahead to this weekend and that strong front because, of course, we've been talking about that potential. You've been hearing a little bit of buzz about some snow, which would be interesting to have a few flurries flying for us. So by Saturday 2 a.m., we'll get our front through here. But look at the modeling Saturday, 1 o'clock in the afternoon, showing potential of a few flurries along the Gulf Coast and the Big Bend area. Even a few flurries potentially making it a little bit closer to our area. And this is similar to lake effect snow, but it's what we call Gulf effect. So as the cold air moves over the relatively warmer water of the Gulf, expands, picks up some moisture, and then it could squeeze out a few of those flurries that we would keep in place, just a flurry or two across our southwestern counties possible. Daytona Beach Skycam looking absolutely gorgeous for us right now, sitting at 61 degrees, a lot of sunshine. We are all hanging out near 60 degrees. Your hour-by-hour forecast featuring Mr. Gray. Mr. Gray looks annoyed about the cold weather. We will drop to 50 by 8 o'clock. I love Mr. Gray. His mom is in the military, so he stays with his grandparents here in Central Florida. Overnight tonight, 36 in Orlando, 28 for your low in Ocala, 41 in Melbourne. 7-day forecast again showing that Arctic blast arrives Saturday into Sunday, back-to-back mornings in the 20s before we slowly warm by the middle of next week.
I want to thank Mr. Gray's family for their service. That's awesome.
So wonderful.
Yeah. Well, open your camera app, scan the QR code on your screen right now and click the link. We want to see your cold weather pics and videos. They could end up on TV. You can also go to clickorlando.com/pins and upload your pictures and videos that way. A couple's missing dog post quickly turned into a scam.
The message and photo that pushed them to pay and what you need to watch out for. That's next. As we take a live look at Mount Dora, you're watching News 6. We'll be right back.
Coming up in the morning, keeping vapes out of the hands of kids.
Florida lawmakers have a new plan to try and help what it could mean for stores all across the state.
Plus, our cold snap continues. Candace tracking those temperatures every 10 minutes.
We'll see you for News 6 morning starting at 6.
A couple says scammers used an AI picture of their missing dog to get nearly $2,000 out of them.
Yeah, this is a shame. They say the picture made it look like their beloved pet was at an emergency vet. They say their puppy named Hazel escaped through a gap in a backyard fence last week. So they posted pictures of Hazel on Facebook and Nextdoor seeking help. Anyone would do that, right? So later that night, they got a call from someone claiming to be from St. Pete Police. The person claimed a car hit the dog and she was in the hospital and needed surgery. The scammer sent the couple a picture, and so the couple sent them $1,900 through Zelle.
They had a location for the incident where she supposedly got hit,
which was very...
All right, so when they went to get her the next day, Hazel was sitting in their golf cart at home, so she came back home. That's when they knew they had been scammed, but it was too late. Pet hospitals want owners to know that they will never ask you for emergency payment over the phone. That would be the worst time to do.
Yeah, and that's the red flag.
Well, home sales are down, and one of the reasons may surprise you.
Apparently, data show home buyers are pulling out of deals at the highest rates ever. December saw more than 40,000 would-be buyers back out of contracts. According to Redfin, more than 16% of contracts written during the month did not end up going through. The years-long slump in housing sales has been largely blamed on a lack of available inventory and high mortgage rates. Some experts say that's only part of the picture, and buyers are becoming more selective.
News 6 at 5 is next.
Anchor Matt Austin is in the newsroom with what's ahead.
Well, the first steps of demolition are underway for that Frito-Lay plant. It was closed down in Orlando last year. We're showing you the next steps for the land and what leaders are doing for workers who are now out of a job. And a controversial encounter with U.S. Customs and Border Patrol at MCO. The letter a passenger is taking to the airport and city officials. And your forecast is only minutes away. Warmed up okay out there. Still a little chilly for us, but it is getting colder. Don't forget, stream all of our newscasts and live cameras like this look at Daytona Beach for free anytime on News 6 Plus.
Now at 5.
Coming up, a complaint from an MCO traveler about a CBP officer gets the attention of the Airport Authority's CEO and Orange County Mayor Jerry Demings.
Plus, a Central Florida staple torn down as workers look for their next steps.
It's devastating.
What's next for the Frito-Lay property and the workers out of a job? And with more people comes a lot more traffic. What city leaders in Apopka are considering to slow the increase? You're watching News 6 at 5.
Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Matt Austin.
And I'm Lisa Bell. We want to start off with that cold weather.
So let's bring in meteorologist Jonathan Kegas. And Jonathan, we're going to see a very subtle warm up before those temperatures dip even lower.
Yeah, emphasis on the subtle for sure. It feels great in the sunshine out there. If you've been out today, the wind backing off a little bit as expected. Right now, not doing too bad. It's going to feel much colder, of course, once the sun goes down. We're hanging around 60 in Oviedo. Wildwood still a chilly 54, 58 degrees in Ocala. It's tomorrow morning again. Will be a couple degrees warmer than what we woke up to today, but still freeze-worthy for most of Central Florida, falling back into the mid to upper 20s in Denellen, Ocala, Palm Coast. We'll start tomorrow at 33. Orlando and Kissimmee, we are back to 36, right around 40 degrees for us in Melbourne. Freeze warnings. Just get used to seeing this for a while. I think we'll watch these expire for most of us as we get into the next couple of days, but they will be back in full force as we get into the upcoming weekend. Again, that contains pretty much everybody except for Brevard, and then right along the coast, the opportunity for frost again is going to be with us still in Brevard, even though we don't hit that freeze criteria of 32 or colder. Overnight tonight, we slip back into the upper 30s by 5 o'clock again in the 20s and 30s. We'll talk about that big blast of cold and even the opportunity for some of us to see some snowflakes on Saturday night. We'll talk about that at 5:17.
That is crazy. Jonathan, thank you. Well, a longtime Central Florida factory is getting torn down. That Frito-Lay plant in Orlando stopped operations last year.
Today, demolition began. Your Orange County community correspondent, Tylisa Hampton, joins us now live from the plant. And Tylisa, as the plant is razed, many of the former employees are still looking for a new job.
That's exactly right, Lisa. That's why city officials tell me they're actually in the early stages of planning another career fair because of those hundreds of employees that are affected. So you can see this demolition right here behind me. Take a look at that big old pile right there. They say that's just one pile of many because look back this way. You can see we're in the middle. They've got started working on this demolition in the middle of this plant, but there's so much more to go. Bending and breaking down metal. The demolition of the Frito-Lay plant in Orlando has begun after PepsiCo announced last year it would close 2 facilities, laying off 500 employees. The company has said the decision for the closure and demo was driven by business needs. Pepsi says workers will get transition assistance, career support, and pay and benefits through the process. Although there's been no word yet on what could happen to this property after this demo, we did learn from County Commissioner Michael Scott's office they are still planning to further help people who lost their job.
It's devastating.
That was Scott back in December when the county held a career fair in the wake of the layoffs.
I just pray that everybody here who's looking for a job will get what they need.
However, weeks later, his office says many workers are still looking for a new job. Now his office is in the early stages of planning another job fair, specifically for those workers who may have a harder time finding their next paycheck. And so as we can see, this demolition is currently underway. That office did say, again, they're in the early stages. So that means that they are still looking for those employers to be a part of this career fair. There's no date set, but they said they'll let us know once everything is decided. And we did reach out to PepsiCo directly to find out what they will do with this property once this demolition is over. And once we hear back, we'll make sure to update you. Reporting in Orange County, I'm News 6's Tylisa Hampton. Back to y'all.
Tylisa, thank you. A man is in the hospital this evening after a shooting at a gas station. Deputies say that man was shot around 3:30 this morning at a 7-Eleven off East Colonial Drive, not far from Bonneville Drive. This is video of the scene. You can see multiple law enforcement vehicles. We are pressing the sheriff's office for more information about a suspect and what exactly happened. We'll bring you those updates on air and online at clickorlando.com.
Hostile and confrontational. That's how a passenger described his interaction with Border Patrol at Orlando International Airport.
Your Orlando community correspondent Mike Valenti went out there to get answers. Mike uncovered that complaint has been sent to the mayor and the head of the airport, and they are pledging a full review.
Impulsive, erratic, and unnecessarily confrontational. That's how a passenger described the behavior of a U.S. Customs and Border Protection officer after the passenger returned here to MCO from a vacation abroad. That man then relayed this formal complaint to Orange County Mayor Jerry Demings, who sits on the airport board. An aide to Demings sent this email last Friday to the airport CEO, Lance Little, requesting a briefing. Attached was this complaint by a man who had an interaction with a CBP officer earlier this month. The traveler recalled airport Q staff telling him to proceed to a customs lane. But when he and his girlfriend did so, the man claimed the officer in question said they should not have approached. And he said the officer displayed behavior that was, quote, hostile, confrontational, and disproportionate to the situation. The man claimed the CBP officer said kicking them out of line was within his power. The traveler claimed the officer accused him of drinking the entire time the man was out of the country. He went on to accuse the officer of directing inappropriate personal comments to the man's girlfriend, claiming the officer, quote, demandingly asked why she was not married to me and questioned why she was single.
Your call has been forwarded to voicemail.
We did reach out to CBP Tuesday and Wednesday. Our messages have not yet been returned. On Saturday, airport CEO Lance Little responded to the mayor, writing, quote, based on the information provided, the allegations described are concerning and, if substantiated, would not align with the professional standards that both GOA and CBP expect at our airport. So the airport does not have authority over federal agents, but Lance Little did tell Mayor Demings that he would review the matter with the head of CBP here at Orlando International Airport. As for the airport, a spokesperson did send me a statement Wednesday saying that Little's email represents the airport's position and that the airport is constantly looking for ways to elevate MCO. I'm your Orange County community correspondent, Mike Valenti, News 6.
We now have the name of the man accused of causing an hours-long standoff yesterday. It happened at a home on Sonco Court near Keens Crossing Elementary School in Orange County. We first brought you this story as breaking news yesterday at 3 p.m. The whole thing caused Keens Crossing Elementary to go on a secure hold. Deputies now tell us Richard Stoner shot a woman, then killed himself. Deputies were outside the home for hours, believing Stoner was inside. They eventually went in and found him dead from an apparent self-inflicted gunshot wound. Deputies tell us the injured woman is still in the hospital. With more people comes more traffic. Roads across Central Florida are running out of space. In Apopka, leaders are taking a look at the entire city. They're trying to find out where things can be expanded. News 6's Stephanie Rodriguez is showing us how people will have a chance to share their concerns tonight.
As commercial properties and new neighborhoods continue to be built, Apopka is projected to face increasing transportation challenges in the coming years. Issues people are already dealing with.
I've noticed an increase in traffic, especially near the planning of new communities. And when we first got here, it was very little.
Several of the city's roads already have more cars than they can handle, like Round Lake.
I know it's overcapacity.
Where Otis Dover has lived for more than 50 years.
You can't get out on the road without getting ran over. In fact, I've been hit right here at this intersection trying to make a left turn.
He feels it can only get worse as more people move in.
I know development is out of control.
As leaders try to create a plan of action to improve transportation for cars, pedestrians, and cyclists, residents hope it actually makes a difference.
What would I like to see done? Somehow slow the traffic down, minimize the amount of cars coming down through here.
Stephanie Rodriguez, News 6.
A proposal to reduce property taxes is ready to go to the Florida House, though the Senate has not yet put forward a plan just yet. The House Ways and Means Committee voted to support the constitutional amendment. That amendment would limit increases in taxing homesteaded property to 3% over 3 years. The current limit is 3% per year. The proposal would also limit increases in how non-homesteaded property can be taxed. Representatives on both sides spoke about it.
Property taxes are not simply payments to the government. They're investments in community safety, infrastructure, and the quality of life we live.
It is a false narrative. You don't get to just cut all the revenue and still have everything that you've always had. You can't cut your budget and keep paying and providing the things you've always provided.
There are a few other proposals out there. One would phase out non-school homesteaded property taxes. That would also increase the homestead property tax exemption for people who have property insurance.
Marion County Schools is taking steps to keep weapons off their campuses. The school board approved the purchase of the Open Gate weapons detection system at a meeting last night. The system requires students to pass through special screening technology. That tech is designed to find weapons on people and in backpacks. In the plan, all high schools will get 2 of the systems. Other systems will be on hand for special events. It will cost a total of $400,000.
New medical help is coming to Rockledge. It comes nearly a year after the only hospital in the city closed down. So today, leaders with Health First and the city of Rockledge broke ground on a new emergency room. That new facility is not connected to a hospital. It will help to bring close, reliable care, they say. A hospital official spoke about the new ER's importance.
This new freestanding emergency department is going to bring emergency care closer to home for the residents of Rockledge. It's going to bring relief to our first responders. They've had to stretch much further to serve this area. And it will bring renewed hope to our clinical teams.
Plans include a 13,500 square foot ER with 12 beds. That ER is set to open around this time next year.
More cold weather is settling into Central Florida.
Of course, humans are feeling the impact, but another living thing needs some help too.
Next at 5, how Central Florida farmers are working right now to protect their crops.
This portion of the news is sponsored by Launch Credit Union.
Well, you've definitely felt it if you've been outside, that cold, cold weather settling into Central Florida.
But it's not just us that we have to worry about. Plants are also at risk.
That's right.
Yeah, and they're at risk of freezing as well.
It was a cold and ice-filled morning at this farm in Eustis, and that's actually a good thing. We've seen it accumulating on the plants, also on the ground here as well. And we spoke with the farmers about how all of this is important for protecting these crops.
Knowing that we had the water on throughout the freezing times, we're confident that it would be okay.
As general manager of Amberbrook Farms, Caleb Bradley spent the overnight hours making sure the sprinklers kept running as temps dipped below freezing on Wednesday.
When the water freezes, that action through fusion creates heat. And that heat is what's protecting the fruit and then the young flowers and buds that are turning into fruit.
The constant irrigation creating a protective barrier from damaging frost on strawberry and blueberry plants.
Spraying the water overnight creates the heat, keeps it warm, and now as you can see we're in the process of melting. Oh look, we got a berry, early berry right there.
Without the protection, entire crops could be lost to the cold.
And you could kind of feel it. Is it falling apart? Is it mushy? This one, if you touch, it's good still.
And Bradley says the cold stress can also produce sweeter berries. It's an added benefit from a sometimes necessary precaution during the winter months.
This will melt naturally and then probably start the process over again several nights this week as we continue to deal with it.
Now the goal for all of this is that the protections will produce more strawberries looking like this, which is important as Amberbrook Farms is holding their Strawberry Festival in just a couple of weeks. We're also told that the measures will continue this weekend when temps are expected to dip into the low 20s. In Eustis, Mark Lehman, News 6.
All right, we want to check in now with meteorologist Jonathan Kagas. We were saying earlier, it's so weird to think you would actually put ice on fruit to protect it.
Exactly, and just how we mentioned, when it freezes, it actually does give off some latent heat, and that actually keeps it pretty warm in there. So it's not just the protective coating. It's not a protective coating. It certainly freezes and makes ice, but it's that heat process that actually keeps it a couple degrees warmer when that happens. We're at 55 degrees in New Smyrna, hanging around 60 in the Villages, 58 in Mount Dora, 60 in Kissimmee. Not doing too bad in Oviedo. We're hanging around the upper 50s, especially when you're standing in the sun. Problem is, it is setting, and we are going to get things to be pretty chilly again tonight. Here's a live look outside downtown Orlando with our Light Orlando Delivering Hope Skycam. Air temperatures back to the upper 50s. The breeze out of the west-northwest at about 10 miles an hour. Tomorrow morning, it's still going to be cold, albeit a degree or two warmer than where we were today. This is our slow climb out of the first round of cold, preparing for the even bigger round of cold as we get into the weekend. We're at 31 when you wake up tomorrow in the Villages, 36 in Orlando. Also that mark in Oviedo, New Smyrna, good evening. We're back to the upper 30s tomorrow. We're at 42 degrees in Mico, so a touch warmer than where we were. Now here's a look at your afternoon.
Your forecast is sponsored by Payne Law.
Couple degrees warmer tomorrow afternoon as well. Still below where we should be for this time of the year. Lower 60s in Leesburg. Oviedo, we're at 63. Back to the upper 50s along the Flagler and Volusia coastline. The secondary round of colder air, it's charging up as we speak. It's kind of hanging up towards Chicago, Minneapolis, International Falls, toward the Great Lakes. And a pretty big storm system is going to dislodge all of that and then slide it down in our direction. By the time we get into Saturday afternoon, we're going to bottom out in the temperature department on Sunday. These are the actual air temperatures again. Low to mid 20s across most of Central Florida, below freezing at the Cape as well. We're at 29 in Cocoa Beach. Again, coldest to stretch, the coldest couple of days that we've seen since 2010. It is going to be windy as this front comes through as well, so it's going to be painful at times to be outside, especially Sunday morning. Again, wind chills in the lower teens, maybe even flirting with the single digits across the northern side of Marion County, where the wind is going to be stronger and the actual air temperatures are going to be colder. So look at this. Cold front slides through. This is early Saturday morning. Everything, the moisture associated with that cold front, it is still too warm to be any kind of flakage. Look what happens, though, as we get into Saturday evening. We start to see some of this blue pop up. Now, what's going on? We've talked about this over the past couple of days. When you get cold air over a relatively warm water source, it generates its own moisture, its lift, instability, and it helps generate some extra moisture again. You see, if we do keep the breeze, this is important. We have to keep the breeze out about the west-northwest. We could generate from some Gulf effect snow showers west of Orlando. But if the wind direction does turn more northerly, that's going to shut that chance down. Again, I'm telling you, there's a chance west of Orlando. I think the East Coast, we're not going to see anything. There's 11 o'clock on Saturday evening. We kind of shut that chance down altogether. 40% chance for rain late Friday night. Again, we could have some Very ugly looking flakes mix in west of Orlando on Saturday evening. 47 degrees on Sunday for a high. We're keeping things pretty chilly until we get into the middle of next work week, guys.
Jonathan, thank you. Well, several counties are once again opening cold shelters and warming centers as the long stretch of cold weather stays in place. We have a full list of every location on our website, clickorlando.com.
And our website also has continued coverage of the cold snap. We have advice from the experts on everything from protecting your plants to making sure your backyard pool is prepped and ready.
Well, the Federal Reserve met today to decide the latest interest rates.
But the decision they came to may not be a popular one. Coming up, what you can expect to see happen to interest rates and why that decision was made.
Your Wednesday evening traffic alert. That cold is not going to stop the construction, but it'll probably stop you from commuting overnight, which could help, right? I-95 north and southbound, you're looking pretty good, but out by US 92, the ramps will be closed, so follow the detour down there, and then further south by the attractions, east and westbound. Lane closures on I-4, not as bad as we normally see, but it's going to be present between about Sand Lake, 528, then of course 528 east and westbound out by Goldenrod, and then some heavy construction overnight with some lane closures on the Turnpike down on the south end in Osceola County. I'm Trooper Steve with your News 6 traffic alert. Drive safely, and I'll catch you in the morning.
Here's a live look at downtown Orlando from our Light Orlando Delivering Hope camera. Beautiful, crisp evening out there. You're watching News 6 at 5. We'll be right back. We're getting an update from the Federal Reserve today. They're telling us what you can expect when it comes to interest rates.
But that update is not what a lot of people hoped for. News 6 business reporter Donovan Myrie is in the newsroom with more on the Fed's decision today. Donovan.
Well, Matt and Lisa, there will be no movement on interest rates this month. The Fed has made 3 consecutive quarter-point percentage rate cuts dating back to last September. the no-cut decision could be interpreted as a signal the Fed board still isn't happy with the rate of inflation, and cutting rates could reignite price increases. Earlier today, I spoke with CBS business analyst Jill Schlesinger. Here's her outlook for what she thinks this means for the average consumer.
I just feel bad for borrowers. We're making incremental progress, but it doesn't seem to move the big charges you're seeing for your credit card balances or those auto loans. Credit card interest rates now averaging over 19%. Auto loans are kind of all over the place. They're so dependent on credit scores and the age of the vehicle. So you can find something that's as low as 5%, but you have to have really good credit. But it goes all the way up to 13% if you've got a shaky credit score.
Now, Jill believes the Fed is still playing catch-up on missing data from the shutdown from last year. Now, there is some good news. Savers, they are still seeing rates on high interest rate savings accounts sitting just below 4%, as well as good rates on CDs. Of course, those rates were better a year ago. And lastly, the Fed board itself is still in the news. The Department of Justice has an open criminal investigation targeting Chairman Jerome Powell regarding the Fed headquarters renovation project, and there's a legal challenge of mortgage residency claims for Fed Governor Lisa Cook that could lead to her removal from the Fed board. Cook's case was argued before the Supreme Court last week. We are awaiting the court's decision. Matt and Lisa.
A lot of drama with the Fed. Donovan Myrie, thank you. Leaders in Port Canaveral spoke today about a potential gas plant coming to the area.
But community members are not happy about that idea.
Coming up, what they had to say and their questions we took straight to leaders of the company planning this thing.
Glad you're with us. I'm Lisa Bell.
I'm Matt Austin. You're watching News 6 at 5. We are following several top stories for you tonight.
Right now in Orlando, workers are demolishing the Frito-Lay plant. Back in November, PepsiCo closed the plant on John Young Parkway. It was built back in 1965. More than 400 people lost their jobs.
A U.S. Customs and Border Protection agent at MCO is now under review after an encounter with a traveler. A complaint says as the man and his girlfriend approached customs, the officer became, quote, hostile and confrontational. CEO of the Aviation Authority says the airport does not have the authority over CBP personnel matters, but they will continue to engage with CBP leadership about the complaint.
In Apopka, city leaders are trying to figure out where streets can be expanded and how to ease congestion for drivers, pedestrians, and cyclists. In just 30 minutes, residents will meet with city leaders to discuss the transportation challenges in Apopka and what can be done about them.
A Brevard County community is fighting to keep a fuel plant out of their neighborhood.
The proposal was addressed at today's Port Canaveral Commission meeting. Your Merritt Island community correspondent James Sparvero took neighbors' tough questions straight to the developer.
I'm not just worried, I'm horrified by this LNG facility.
More concerned neighbors who say they don't want to live close to a liquefied natural gas plant. They're worried about Chesapeake Utilities and Berkshire Hathaway trying to buy land here on the barge canal that's owned by the port. The energy companies say the plant would be safe.
LNG is non-toxic.
But these neighbors don't trust them.
This is an insane proposal and it should immediately be rejected.
Wednesday, the port didn't vote whether they'll sell the land or not, but I got to talk for the first time with a representative of the project.
Because LNG is the future fuel for both the maritime and space industries.
Alex Nye works for Chesapeake's communications department. And why do you think residents shouldn't be concerned for their safety?
Natural gas is being used on Merritt Island already. So homes and businesses already have natural gas service here.
Would you be comfortable living close to this plant?
Yeah, and frankly, we're going to have our people who are going to live and work here operate this plant.
Neighbors who address commissioners like Bob Wise say the closest home to the plant would be within a few hundred feet. Alex told me there are multiple LNG plants in the country that are directly next to neighborhoods. If this plant were to get built, it sounds like some of your neighbors might consider moving.
Probably would. If they build it like the ones in Louisiana and Texas, and they're getting bad smells and actually toxic fumes.
So with no decision yet from the port, next the residents can take their concerns to a meeting hosted by the energy companies. It's coming up in 3 weeks, and I'll put the full details on clickorlando.com. In Brevard County, I'm your Merritt Island community correspondent, James Sparvero, News 6.
Well, CBS News has confirmed the officers who shot Alex Preddy are on leave. He's the Minnesota man shot over the weekend by federal agents in Minneapolis. CBS News' Ian Lee has details, plus the latest on an attack against Congresswoman Ilhan Omar.
CBS News has learned the federal agents involved in Saturday's deadly shooting of Alex Preddy have been placed on administrative leave. President Trump's border czar Tom Homan is in Minneapolis leading the ongoing immigration operation.
I don't care who you are, get back in your vehicle.
Wednesday, federal agents threatened to arrest an Associated Press cameraman as he was documenting an operation. And on Tuesday, agents were seen detaining two men. In the back seat, Jenny, who only provided her first name, and her daughter.
Man, go home with the baby.
Jenny says she pleaded to go with her husband and her cousin, but agents refused to take them.
Señor, ¿por qué?
She goes over to her cousin, who makes a run for it, but is soon caught.
No tenía otra opción.
Jenny says they're all undocumented and came to the U.S. from Ecuador to provide for their family. It's unclear why she wasn't taken. There's some hope from many Minnesotans that Homan's arrival here and the change in leadership by the Trump administration will lower tensions in the Twin Cities. Police arrested 55-year-old Anthony Kazmierczak, who assaulted Congresswoman Ilhan Omar during a town hall Tuesday night, spraying her with a liquid. She continued the event.
We are Minnesota strong, and we will stay resilient in the face of whatever they might throw at us.
CBS News asked Minnesota's governor about the political rhetoric President Trump has directed against Omar.
I keep coming back to this. The decency of the American people is going to have to speak up.
Omar said on social media she's doing okay and won't be intimidated by a, quote, small agitator. Ian Lee, CBS News, Minneapolis.
What's happening in Minnesota could have an impact on you. It could all lead to a government shutdown.
Hey, I'm Lauren Melendez, and this week on Politically Motivated, the podcast that takes you inside the Florida legislature, breaking down policy, power, and how it impacts you. Christopher Heath and I break down how all of us could feel the effects of the growing tensions about ICE killing yet another person in Minnesota. Our government has to be funded by money. And there was a package that was approved by the House, and the Senate said no, specifically most Democrats, because of immigration issues. Congress is on the brink of another government shutdown, and it's all because of growing anger over the conduct of federal agents in Minneapolis. They've killed 2 people in just over 2 weeks. The first was Renee Good, whom DHS Secretary Kristi Noem says used her SUV as a weapon to attack ICE agents. That was January 7th. Then an ICU nurse who appears in video to be trying to help a woman who was pushed to the ground by Border Patrol agents during a clash on January 26th. So here's where things stand. The House passed an extension to keep the government's lights on, and then they sent it to the Senate.
After it's sent to the Senate, that's when we have the killing of Alex Preddy. And the reaction from Democrats was almost immediate to start whipping votes. And Chuck Schumer and other leadership on the Democratic side said, We'll pass almost everything you've given us to keep the government funded, but we will not pass this ICE portion.
Democrats rejecting the idea of giving more money to Homeland Security, and now everything is in limbo. Government will shut down January 30th. That's if both sides can't agree. And with no federal government, everything from TSA to SNAP benefits, small business loans, even food safety inspections, they're put on ice. And for a look at all the other ways the government shutdown could affect you and our other major stories like vaccine changes coming to Florida, look for this story on clickorlando.com.
Well, there's much more where that came from. If you want to catch Lauren and Chris live, it's on clickorlando.com every Wednesday. It airs right at 8:30 in the morning.
It is a somber day for the nation's space program. 40 years ago today, the Space Shuttle Challenger broke apart during liftoff. All 7 astronauts on board were killed, including Krista McAuliffe, who was selected as the first participant in NASA's Teacher in Space program. The disaster was later blamed on a seal in the solid rocket booster that failed because of the cold temperatures that morning, allowing hot gases to escape. The tragedy forced a major redesign of those rockets and also led to a major culture shift when it came to safety inside the space agency.
And as we remember that sad day, NASA is now gearing up for its next big mission, a crewed launch to the moon for the first time in decades. The agency says as soon as this weekend, it could go through a so-called wet dress rehearsal on the massive Space Launch System rocket. That includes fueling it up and then doing a practice countdown to the launch. NASA says if the test goes well, the mission to send astronauts around the moon and back could happen in the next few months. Mission managers say they're taking extra steps to protect the rocket from these cold temperatures.
Remember, you can be in the know for all things space through our Covering Space Coast and Beyond newsletter. It goes right to your email every week. Just go to clickorlando.com/newsletters to subscribe.
Well, don't block the sidewalk with your car.
You'll end up causing more problems than you may think. A viewer contacted Trooper Steve about it. He's on patrol with some suggestions on how you should park.
I found out that it's pretty simple for us to take an Ask Trooper Steve, especially if it's a good one, and flip it to a Trooper Steve on patrol. So I got an email just the other day. I want to see if I can find it. And, found it. Dear Trooper Steve, I'm writing to formally address the reoccurring issues of vehicle obstructing sidewalks and crosswalks. My partner utilizes a wheelchair, and we frequently encounter blocked pathways. These obstructions really eliminate the navigating into the street to reach medical appointments, posing a significant safety risk. Could you please take the necessary action to inform drivers of the importance of keeping these areas clear to ensure proper accessibility? And that came from Jack. You know what, Jack? I dang straight can. It's eliminating the access for a pedestrian, for someone in a wheelchair, when they're trying to get up on a sidewalk. If your vehicle is blocking that, that would be for like you and me right now, just walking down a sidewalk there.
that is improperly parked, and you technically can get a ticket for that.
Now, to watch Steve's full episode and all the neighborhood parking laws, head over to clickorlando.com, and you can hit the road with Trooper Steve on patrol weekdays at 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. on the new 6 Plus streaming app for your smart TV or clickorlando.com. We all know how we handle the cold. Earlier, we also told you how plants have to cope with the cold.
There's another thing to consider, though. Animals, specifically our beloved gators.
Yeah, coming up, a look at how they are handling the drop in temperatures. And we'll take you to a live report at Gatorland. Jonathan.
You can try out the all-new primetime schedule on News 6 Plus. Ginger and I have a take on the day's news coming up at 9. Go in-depth with your weather questions with meteorologist Jonathan Kagas at 9:30. And then you can watch the late news an hour earlier. It's all tonight on News 6 Plus.
And you can download our streaming app for free. Just search WKMG in your smart TV's app store. It's also available on Roku, Apple TV, and Fire TV.
This portion of the news is sponsored by Shark Coatings.
Cut out. Hi.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, we're not the only ones trying to stay warm this week.
We know iguanas can't hang in the cold, but what about gators? Our Catherine Silver is live at Gatorland. And Catherine, you talked with the experts today.
That's right. And I am a Florida girl, born and raised. I'll just never get used to the winter weather. Alligators certainly prefer warm weather as well, but they have been coping with the cold much longer than we have. How do gators handle cold weather?
You know, honestly, they're actually really good. So naturally, alligators live as far north as North Carolina and as far west as Texas. So there's gators in other states that are used to freezing temperatures, of course. Here in Florida, doesn't freeze too much, at least not here in Central Florida. So these guys, you know, and gals just really stay in the water. It's a lot warmer than the air.
They're like us. They want warm water or warm sun.
Exactly. You know, for reptiles, you know, to go from 35, 36 degrees as a low to we're talking 25, 26, a 10-degree difference on the weekend. That's a lot for a reptile.
We know other animals will hibernate. What do alligators do?
So here in Florida, they don't necessarily hibernate, but where you get into those other states further north, a little more west, where you have where the water freezes, you get more freezing temperatures, they do a form of hibernation called brumation. And basically they stick their nose above the surface of the water, let the water freeze around them, and a day, 2 days, maybe a week at the most, that it takes a few inches of ice to thaw out, they go on their merry way.
Alligators are like the ultimate survivor in a lot of ways. They've been
Definitely.
doing this for years and years and years.
At least this species, 37 million years is how long the American alligator's been on the earth. So this isn't the only cold snap that they've gone through in their lifetime. I think they can sense that it's gonna cool down. Winter's coming. They might eat a little more, to kind of beef up a little bit.
They're saying hi.
They are saying hi this morning. That's called bellowing.
That's not a burr.
No, it's not a burr, not at all. But it could be, hey, this is my spot. This is where I want to be. Don't stand in my sunspot.
They certainly prefer the heat.
They definitely do.
Yeah, I prefer the heat as well. Now that the sun is starting to go down, temperatures are certainly dropping. I bet a lot of the gators here at Gatorland are back in the water for the night. We also asked about the other animals that they keep here. They tell us a lot of them will stay inside when it's warm. They'll also add some extra heaters, some hay to make sure they're warm this weekend as well. I'm live at Gatorland. Catherine Silver, News 6.
Catherine, I'm going to go review that tape. It sounded like a burr to me, too. I agree with you. But glad to hear those gators are going to be okay and will survive this just fine. Catherine, thank you.
I think that's how they attract the ladies, even in the cold temperatures. All right, let's get you to meteorologist Jonathan Kegas joining us now. These gators haven't even seen the meat of this cold yet.
Oh, no, we've not seen the meat of this cold either above the water. Temperatures are going to take a big tumble. Right now, our air mass, it's charging up across the Great Lakes, upper Midwest, Northeast. That's where the bone-chilling stuff is. All of this then makes a beeline into Florida as a big-time system that gets going off the Carolina coast, kind of shoves it right on down the Florida peninsula. It's something that we've talked about really going back to last week, how this was going to be an extended nature. Now, we are going to see improvements in the short term. Still cold, but improvements. Tomorrow morning, still that freeze is going to be possible across a lot of central Florida. In the Orlando area, we're going to be back to the mid-30s to start. Friday, we jump back into the lower 40s. We're heading to the upper 40s, still below where we should be for this time of the year, but doing a little bit better. But then the bottom falls out. Saturday night into Sunday, that's when everybody's waking up at least in the mid-20s. A lot of us will be in the lower 20s, flirting with the teens. And again, that does not include the wind at all. Very cold on Monday and Tuesday. Still very chilly again on Wednesday, but we're starting to pull back out of it by the middle and later stages of next work week. Here's a live look now as the sun goes down and it's going to turn pretty chilly. Live look, Port Canaveral, Brevard County. With our Launch Credit Union camera this evening, we have air temperatures back into the mid-50s under a mainly clear sky right now. We're at 50 in Wildwood, 59 in Claremont. Good evening in Titusville. We're still hanging out in the lower 60s tonight, so not doing too bad. But as the sun goes down again, it's going to get much colder. For that, here's a look at your forecast.
Your forecast is sponsored by Advent Health.
All right, there we go. A couple degrees warmer than where we were this morning. That'll put us still in the upper 20s. Again, hard freeze in Denellen and Ocala. 28 degrees is that category for the hard freeze. 34 in Leesburg, 33 in DeLand, 36 degrees in Orlando. So again, still really cold again tomorrow. We're hanging around 40 along the Space Coast. Rebounding back into the mid-60s. Again, going to feel very nice in the sun tomorrow. That's still a few notches below, about 10 degrees below where we should be for this time of the year from our average high temperature. And we're going to go way back down beyond that as a cold front kind of changes everything again Saturday into Sunday. So here's future radar. We're going to fast forward out to Friday night, early Saturday morning. Still hanging on to some scattered showers as a strong cold front slides on through. The moisture goes with it, at least for now. You're going to notice something here, though. We've been talking about this for the last few days. You see some blue start to pop up. Now, all the moisture is along the front. But what happens here is as we have this big Arctic air mass going over the warm Gulf, it helps to generate extra moisture, extra lift to get some moisture going again. And you see what happens here, that turning to blue there. That's indicating at least the model showing a wintry mix or some flurries west of Orlando. Now, It's still a low opportunity for it to happen, but there's an opportunity west of Orlando to see some flakes if the wind direction stays out about the west-northwest. That's got to cross the Gulf to bring in that extra moisture. It's certainly going to be cold enough, and you see it continues until the latter stage of Saturday night to around midnight. The best opportunity is closer into the west of I-75. Something we're going to keep an eye on. It's not going to accumulate, but you might see some flakes flying again later Saturday evening. Temperatures pushing 70 on Friday. But then there comes a drop, guys. Highs will struggle to get out of the 40s on Sunday.
Ooh, here we go again. All right, thank you, Jonathan. Well, shots fired through the wall of an apartment.
Luckily, the bullets missed the couple inside. Coming up, what deputies have to say about the man who they say fired those shots and his long criminal history.
Coming up in the morning, keeping vapes out of the hands of kids.
Florida lawmakers have a new plan to try and help what it could mean for stores all across the state.
Plus, our cold snap continues. Candace tracking those temperatures every 10 minutes.
We'll see you for News 6 Morning starting at 6.
Here's a live look at Daytona Beach. Epic sunset
Beautiful.
out there tonight. Looks good, doesn't feel so good. You're watching News 6 at 5. We'll be right back. Some frightening moments for a Central Florida couple. Deputies say a guy with a long criminal history fired several shots right into their Orlando apartment.
Now, deputies say the couple was not hit. A miracle that no one was hurt. News 6's Alex Cook has been digging into this story all day. He's at the Studio Park Apartments with the latest.
That couple was making dinner in their apartment right behind me when suddenly their wall exploded with gunshots. Deputies say the man next door fired a rifle straight into their apartment, nearly turning that peaceful, quiet night into tragedy.
That's very scary. You don't know what to think or do. The first thing to do is just duck for cover and make sure everybody's safe. It's like, how do you think so quick?
According to the Orange County Sheriff's Office, on January 14th, that married couple was at home making dinner when they heard knocking from the wall shared with the next apartment. Then, suddenly, gunshots rang out. Fearing for their lives, they dove for cover until the shooting stopped, then called 911. When deputies arrived, they found bullet holes through the walls, even one near the kitchen sink where the couple had been standing. Deputies searched the neighboring apartment using a drone to help, but found no one inside. They say they found 25 spent rifle casings and a loaded rifle hidden under a couch. Joey Wright lives in the apartment complex and was shocked to hear about the shooting.
We're very lucky that they didn't get hit and nobody else got hit and everybody's safe.
The suspect, Kevin Lee Anderson, is a convicted felon with a long history of violent crime convictions. Deputies say he fired into the occupied apartment, putting the couple's lives in danger. A warrant was issued for Anderson's arrest, and the Seminole County Sheriff's Office found him on January 20th in Longwood. Yesterday, he was transferred to the Orange County Jail and booked without bail. Anderson faces multiple serious charges, including attempted felony murder and possession of a firearm as a convicted felon. I'm still working to get in touch with that couple to hear about the terrifying experience in their own words. Stay tuned to News 6 and clickorlando.com for updates. In Orlando, Alex Cook, News 6.
Ginger Gaston is in the newsroom with what we're working on for News 6 at 6.
Matt and Lisa, hostile and confrontational. That's how one passenger described an interaction with Border Patrol at Orlando International Airport. Next on News 6 at 6, we're digging into this complaint, and that now has the county leaders pledging a full review. Plus, as some Deltona neighbors face sky-high water bills, we're pressing city leaders for an explanation as to why it's happening, and we're getting answers for them as well. A live look now at downtown Orlando. This is from our Light Orlando Delivering Hope camera. What a beautiful sunset out there, but it is going to be another cold one. Meteorologist Jonathan Kegas will be up in just a couple of minutes with your full forecast. You're going to want to hear all the details of what's coming up this weekend. You're watching News 6. We'll be right back. Now on News 6 at 6, we're helping you stay warm as we deal with some of the coldest stretches we've seen in years. And it could get even colder this weekend. Plus,
to save another child or to help another family be saved, that means more to us than anything.
the push from neighbors to protect children after a 9-year-old girl was shot and killed in Pine Hills nearly 3 years ago. And after the abrupt closure of Legends Academy, there are now efforts to help the staff affected.
The hope is that they can grow and they can pay their bills and they can, you know,
and stay in the field of education.
Stay in the field that we all love.
News 6 at 6 starts now.
Matt Austin.
And I'm Ginger Gaston. If you've been outside in the last few days, you know what we're dealing with right now. Some cold weather right here in Central Florida.
So we want to take you right to meteorologist Jonathan Kegas. Jonathan, this cold weather is going to get worse over the next few days.
It is, yeah, especially once we get towards Friday night, Saturday, Sunday, and then into early part of next week. We'll start to moderate our temperatures a little bit, some subtle improvements through the middle of the week. Right now, not doing too bad, although as the sun is going down, it feels, air has a little more bite to it. Mount Dora, good evening. We are at 55 right now in Ocala. Denellen, we're at 51 degrees at this hour. Now, tomorrow morning, it is still pretty cold. We're going to be 1 to 2 degrees warmer than where we were today. So we're taking baby steps to pull out of kind of cold blast number 1 of this week. That'll put us into the upper 20s from Denellen back to Ocala, hanging around 40 in Melbourne, 47 at the Cape. We're back to the middle 30s through the I-4 corridor, 33 degrees in DeLand when you wake up tomorrow morning. Freeze warning for most of Central Florida. The only spots immune tonight going to be right along the coast of Flagler and Volusia County. And then for us in Brevard, frost is going to still be possible. But that freeze warning is for plants, again, 32 degrees or colder. I mentioned it yesterday, just keep all your plants covered for the remainder of the week. There will be subtle improvements in the morning and into the afternoon, but then we had that gigantic blast coming in for the upcoming weekend. There's our tumble tonight through 8 o'clock. We're hanging around 50, back to the upper 30s by 2, and then we'll bottom out into the upper 20s and low to mid 30s. Colder, of course, the further northwest of I-4 you are. We're going to pinpoint the timeline of the bigger blast of cold coming in for the weekend, and the opportunity for some of us in Central Florida to see snowflakes. I'll tell you who is the best opportunity for that to happen and when at about 6:17, guys.
All right, thank you, Jonathan. And you just heard Jonathan say a bigger blast of cold is on the way. This weather is sticking around for a little bit. So cold weather shelters are opening across Central Florida. Every county across Central Florida, except for Marion, is opening spaces for people without reliable access to heat. Head to clickorlando.com for a list of all the shelter locations and how communities are helping people get there. For everything you need to know about this cold stretch, head to clickorlando.com/freeze guide. We have all those cold weather shelters as well as forecasting and tips to protect your home. Again, that's at clickorlando.com/freeze guide. Hostile and confrontational. That is how a passenger described his interaction with Border Patrol at Orlando International Airport.
Now, as your Orlando community correspondent Mike Valenti uncovered, that complaint has been sent to the mayor and the head of the airport, who are pledging a full review.
Impulsive, erratic, and unnecessarily confrontational. That's how a passenger described the behavior of a U.S. Customs and Border Protection officer after the passenger returned here to MCO from a vacation abroad. That man then relayed this formal complaint to Orange County Mayor Jerry Demings, who sits on the airport board. An aide to Demings sent this email last Friday to the airport CEO, Lance Little, requesting a briefing. Attached was this complaint by a man who had an interaction with a CBP officer earlier this month. The traveler recalled airport Q staff telling him to proceed to a customs lane. But when he and his girlfriend did so, the man claimed the officer in question said they should not have approached. And he said the officer displayed behavior that was, quote, hostile, confrontational, and disproportionate to the situation. The man claimed the CBP officer said kicking them out of line was within his power. The traveler claimed the officer accused him of drinking the entire time the man was out of the country. He went on to accuse the officer of directing inappropriate personal comments to the man's girlfriend, claiming the officer, quote, demandingly asked why she was not married to me and questioned why she was single.
Your call has been forwarded to voicemail.
We did reach out to CBP Tuesday and Wednesday. Our messages have not yet been returned. On Saturday, airport CEO Lance Little responded to the mayor, writing, quote, Based on the information provided, the allegations described are concerning, and if substantiated, would not align with the professional standards that both GOA and CBP expect at our airport. So the airport does not have authority over federal agents, but Lance Little did tell Mayor Demings that he would review the matter with the head of CBP here at Orlando International Airport. As for the airport, a spokesperson did send me a statement Wednesday saying that Little's email represents the airport's position and that the airport is constantly looking for ways to elevate MCO. I'm your Orange County community correspondent, Mike Valenti, News 6.
It has been almost 3 years since 3 people were shot to death in Pine Hills, including 9-year-old Tiana Major. Today, her family was at the state capitol working to protect children from similar threats. The goal is to create stronger communication and faster alerts during emergencies. As one family member told News 6's Jana Manahalal today, better communication can save lives.
We must protect our children. And that's what Yaya Alert is about. And that's what Yaya Alert will help do.
Nearly 3 years after her death, the family of 9-year-old Tiana Yaya Major is pushing for a new statewide alert system designed to protect Florida's children.
We don't want anybody to go through what we are going through.
I had the opportunity to speak with Tiana's aunt about the process.
The one person we couldn't save was her. So to save another child or to help another family be saved, that means more to us than anything.
The proposal would create a Yaya alert, linking schools, law enforcement, and child care facilities statewide whenever there's a confirmed imminent threat in the area.
Every minute without an alert is a minute where parents are dropping off their kids. Teachers are opening classroom doors, and child care workers are welcoming children without knowing what's happening just blocks away.
State Senator Chevron Jones is pushing the bill, which has yet to be scheduled for a hearing.
Your kids bury you. That's not what's happening right now. And we have to stop that.
In 2023, the 9-year-old, along with 38-year-old Natasha Augustine, as well as reporter Dylan Lyons, were shot and killed. Keith Moses was arrested and charged with the murders. Critics say the Orange County Sheriff's Office did not tell the community they were actively looking for Moses or that he could be in the area. The proposed bill would require law enforcement to activate the emergency alert system to notify public and private schools and child care facilities of an imminent threat.
Everybody is needed in this. This is a community affair. It's not just Pine Hills, not just Orlando, it's Florida.
The families of the victims in the Keith Moses case, including Major's family, are suing the sheriff's office over that perceived lack of communication. In Orange County, I'm your community correspondent, Jada Manahalal, News 6.
Well, for thousands of Orange County families, the school year has been ripped apart. Campuses shuttered, classrooms empty, and teachers left wondering what is next to come. But in the middle of all this uncertainty, one local counseling and tutoring group is stepping in, creating a new path for both kids and educators. After they saw our story right here on News 6, your Orange County community correspondent, Jarrell Baker, shows us how they're turning setback into opportunity.
School closures across Central Florida are turning families' lives upside down. Students forced to start over, leaving teachers without a classroom or a paycheck.
Since maybe August, there's so much more need, like even before the school closures.
This week, the Orange County School District confirming more school closures could be on the way. But the Hartman Center, a tutoring and counseling group in Winter Park, may have a solution for both students and displaced teachers.
It's still heartbreaking because like right now when I went into my old classroom, it brought back all kind of memories.
After watching our reports on the closures, Abby Hartman and Abby McCarthy say that they're now connecting with former educators from these shuttered schools, creating a homeschool support group.
We support maybe 5 to 10 students at a time where parents can choose to send their students here for 1, 2, 3, or even 4 days a week for 3 to 4 hours at a time and work with a certified teacher in these really tiny small groups with a research-based curriculum.
They believe that it can expand their services and reconnect those teachers with displaced students.
You know, the hope is that they can grow and they can pay their bills and they can, you know,
and stay in the field of
education.
education.
Stay in the field that we all love, that we see disappearing in front of our eyes.
They've already spoken with teachers from Chickasaw and McCoy Elementary, as well as Legends Academy, all schools slated to shutter. The center hopes to get the program running as soon as February. We'll check back. I'm your Orange County community correspondent, Jarrell Baker.
Happening right now, leaders in Apopka are looking at ways to keep up with the growing population we see in Florida.
Yeah, leaders are giving neighbors a look at ways to improve transportation for cars, pedestrians, and cyclists. Now, the city is expected to face higher transportation challenges in the coming years. Several roads in Apopka are already seeing more cars than it can handle as leaders weigh a plan of action. News 6's Stephanie Rodriguez spoke with neighbors who are hopeful these changes will make a difference.
You can't get out on the road without getting ran over. In fact, I've been hit right here at this intersection trying to make a left turn. What would I like to see done? Somehow slow the traffic down, minimize the amount of cars coming down through here.
As we mentioned, this meeting is happening right now. We'll give you updates on air and on clickorlando.com. Central Florida is seeing some of the coldest weather in years, and we could see temps drop even more in the coming days.
Here's a live look at downtown Orlando, thanks to our Light Orlando camera. We're breaking down that full forecast after a quick break.
Deltona residents are coming to News 6 saying they need help and answers as to why they are now paying new steep deposit fees just to turn their water on. I'm Molly Reed. Coming up, we go to the city for answers as to why these fees went up.
This portion of the news is sponsored by Advent Health.
So we've been reporting on Central Floridians facing sky-high water bills.
Yeah, but now people in Deltona are struggling to pay new steep deposits just to turn their water on. So they turned to News 6 to get some answers. Your Volusia County community correspondent Molly Reed took their concerns straight to City Hall, pushing for explanations and help.
I met a family here at City Hall today who was stunned to see the fee to turn on the water and sewer in their new home. Now, I also reached out to a city commissioner and asked her to meet us here to hopefully get the family some help and also some answers as to why these fees are so high.
$500 for water deposit, $150 for reclaimed water, and a $55 activation fee.
Cynthia Scott says they were shocked and confused when they got the bill.
Nobody gave me this information in writing. It was just all verbal.
Cynthia and her husband Matt tell me they tried visiting City Hall multiple times over 3 weeks, but kept hitting walls. For one, they thought they should be exempt from the deposit since they're not new customers. That's what the city's master plan says. But they also wanted to know why the cost was so high.
You know, the whole reason I came to you guys too was because it's the matter of somebody having to put food on the table or pay to turn their water on.
Now, while talking to Cynthia outside of City Hall here, Matt went back inside to try one more time to sort this out. We were able to get the attention of the city's finance director, who reviewed their records and dropped their fee down to about $300. But for many, the deposit fee will still be close to $700. Commissioner Emma Santiago told me this change is about making up for the difference for bills left unpaid by others, costs that all taxpayers used to cover.
Renters. They either leave and don't pay the final bill, or throughout time they accumulate that.
In October, the City Commission unanimously approved a new fee plan to cover those losses, switching from deposits based on meter size to a credit score-based system.
In the last 15 years, last year, we found out it was close to $2 million that the city had to write off.
While other utility companies use credit scores for deposits, residents like the Scotts want the city to stay consistent.
And why does it differ from the electric companies?
Now, the city's master plan does not give specific credit score ranges, but instead goes by good, average, and poor. If you're interested in what your fee could be here in Deltona, we're putting all of the information on our website, clickorlando.com. I'm your Volusia County Community Correspondent Molly Reed, News 6.
All right, time now for a look at your forecast with meteorologist Jonathan Kagas. And Jonathan, I know you're starting with the temperatures, but we've seen beautiful pictures all day today. It's almost like it's a Hinge, you know, your profile picture. It looks beautiful.
But then when
Bumble, like a dating. It's a
really,
dating
when
profile.
you meet him in person,
it's cold.
It's very deceptive. I see picking out what you're putting down for sure. I'm like, wait, what's the new app these days? 54 in the land. I guess it's not all that new either. 53 degrees in Palm Coast. We're at 63 in Titusville. We are losing that deceptive sunshine, so it's going to feel much, much colder again. The breeze has backed off a little bit, as we were talking about yesterday. Here is a live look outside downtown Orlando with our Light Orlando Delivering Hope Skycam. All is clear outside. It's quiet. It's a little chilly. And it's setting the stage for a really cold weekend. Again, likely the coldest in a little more than 15 years coming down the pipeline. 56 degrees under a mainly sunny sky right now. The breeze out of the northwest, still pumping in some of that chill at about 5 to 10 miles an hour. Tomorrow morning, it is still going to be cold, albeit a degree or two warmer. Again, you might not really going to know the difference or feel the difference, but that does put us back into the upper 20s in Denellen and Ocala. We're at 36. Back to St. Cloud into Kissimmee. Good evening in Holopah. We are at 32. We're at 46 in Cocoa Beach. And to Scottsmore and to Mims, we're back into the upper 30s as well. Now here's a look at your tomorrow afternoon.
Your forecast is sponsored by Strata Services.
Air temperature is going to climb back into the mid-60s, so there will be some improvement tomorrow. Still a little bite to the air. Sunshine dominant again. It's running about 10 degrees below where we should be as we move into the day on Thursday. Here is where the chill is right now. It's heading north of Nashville, back toward Columbus, Pittsburgh. It's 1 degree below zero in International Falls, Minnesota. This is where our next air mass is coming from. Over the weekend, large storm system likely to develop off the Carolina coast. That is going to grab all that cold air and send it right on down the Florida peninsula. And this is what we wake up to on Sunday. We're at 22 in Ocala, 22 in the Villages, 26 in Orlando. Most of us are going to observe that hard freeze, 28 degrees or colder. It's also going to be pretty windy as well, courtesy of that big storm lifting just toward our north. Wind chills in the teens, maybe flirting with the single digits at times. It's going to be a kind of a rare blast of cold coming our way. There's that cold front early in the morning. Saturday morning, it starts to take the moisture back with it, but you're going to notice something. Notice still a few sprinkles trying to push their way back on shore. By that point, it'll be cold enough to get some snowflakes, mainly west of Orlando. Now, the chance is still relatively low, but it is not zero. However, if we keep the wind direction out of the west-northwest, you get that brutally cold air mass over the warm Gulf, and you're going to generate some Gulf effect snowflakes. It's very similar to how you get the lake effect snow up around the Great Lakes. That is a legitimate possibility west of Orlando again, as you see that continuing towards the Gulf Coast. They have a certainly better shot closer to I-75 and west, but again, west of Orlando, we will have that chance too to see some snowflakes Saturday evening into early Sunday morning. 40% shot for rain Friday night into Saturday. Again, might have to add some snowflakes to that graphic for some of us anyway, west of Orlando. There's that brutally cold blast, guys. Sunday morning, we're in the mid-20s, staying that way on Monday. We're going to rebound to 70, though, by Wednesday.
We could collect it all and make a tiny little snowball. Jonathan, thank you. Well, Central Florida distribution plant is going away. The Frito-Lay site ceased operations at the end of last year, and today, demolition began. Your Orange County community correspondent, Talisa Hampton, shows us how some employees are still looking for work.
Bending and breaking down metal. The demolition of the Frito-Lay plant in Orlando has begun after PepsiCo announced last year it would close 2 facilities, laying off 500 employees. The company has said the decision for the closure and demo was driven by business needs. Pepsi says workers will get transition assistance, career support, and pay and benefits through the process. Although there's been no word yet on what could happen to this property after this demo, we did learn from County Commissioner Michael Scott's office they are still planning to further help people who lost their job.
It's devastating.
That was Scott back in December when the county held a career fair in the wake of the layoffs.
I just pray that everybody here who's looking for a job will get what they need.
However, weeks later, his office says many workers are still looking for a new job. Now his office is in the early stages of planning another job fair, specifically for those workers who may have a harder time finding their next paycheck. And again, that office says they're in the early stages of planning this next career fair. There's not even a date set, but they did say they want to make sure that they can help as many employees as possible. Reporting in Orange County, I'm News 6's Talisa Hampton.
All right, sports director Jamie Say is here now.
Jamie, the best golfers in the world are going for a big prize in Lake Nona.
Yeah, they sure are. The purse for the tournament for the LPGA players, over $2 million. We were at the course today. That's on the way. Plus, it's football recruiting season. So which big-name head coach was dropping in on Central Florida today? We will tell you who and where he went next in sports. Welcome back to News 6. Over $2.5 million will be won this week on the links in Lake Nona. That's why the top 10 women's golfers in the world are here. The HGV Tournament of Champions starts tomorrow at Lake Nona Golf and Country Club. It's the LPGA Tour's season opener. News 6 was at Lake Nona today for the Pro-Am. It's a good warm-up for the LPGA stars and the celebrities before the real thing. Lake Nona resident and golf legend Annika Sorenstam was out there early. Other celebrities like former NBA champ Ray Allen, tennis great Marty Fish, and former Gator Coach Urban Meyer getting acclimated to the course. LPGA Tour players were getting warmed up too. There's world number 2 Nelly Korda and world number 5 Charlie Hull. They're among the 44 pros and the 44 celebs who will tee off tomorrow on a challenging and chilly Lake Nona course.
It's going to be tricky out there, but I think it's good when it's played tricky. I enjoy playing tougher golf courses. I enjoyed the challenge and stuff. I just find it fun.
The golf course isn't short, so when it is cold, it is playing substantially longer just because the ball isn't carrying as far. I think I hit everything short today.
It's a bit of a marathon. It's not you just have to be solid all 4 days and put it together. And especially I think with some of the weather coming, that there'll be some moments where you have to kind of just, par is going to be a great score out there.
Tees off tomorrow morning at 8:40. On to college football. No program plays the transfer portal and NIL system better than the Miami Hurricanes. They just nailed down their next top quarterback. Darian Mensah announced his commitment to the Hurricanes today. The news comes one day after Mensah and Duke University agreed on a settlement that allows the quarterback to transfer. Mensah threw for almost 4,000 yards, 34 touchdowns this season. His top target at Duke, receiver Cooper Barkay, committed to the Canes as well. Meanwhile, Florida State head coach Mike Norvell building the Noles the old-fashioned way today with high school recruiting, if you consider taking a helicopter to high school's old-fashioned. Norvell landed at Orlando's Jones High this morning to talk to some of the top Tiger recruits. That video is courtesy of Jones Football. Norvell's visit comes 1 week before National Signing Day.
That's great. Mike,
Cars are so regular.
Flying around in a helicopter
Flying
while the
around.
Canes get a superstar quarterback.
Yep.
I love it. All right,
Your
have yourself
guy.
a great day.
We'll see you back here again at 9.
I can't
Bye.
believe it.
Come on.